a special presentation of Fox Sports Net. Next on College Football Saturday, around the Midwest, he's known as the Great Dane. Today, around Cincinnati, he'll be known as that awesome freight train from Wisconsin, Ron Dayne. The Heisman frontrunners on track to break Ricky Williams' all-time rushing record as the ninth-ranked Wisconsin Badgers travel to Cincy for a hard-nosed, bare-knuckled, drag-em-out football battle. Then, lightning strikes Seattle when Air Force, the nation's top rushing offense, flies into Husky Land for a real dogfight. Followed by the 19th-ranked Wildcats as they host Stanford to a Pac-10 Wild West shootout. Now, Ron Dayne takes a run for the Heisman as 9th-ranked Wisconsin and the Cincinnati Bearcats get down to business on Fox Sports Net.
Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati decked out in red today for good reason. Ron Dayne's quest to become college football's all-time leading rusher carries Wisconsin against Conference USA member Cincinnati. The Bearcats on the prowl seeking an upset alongside Trevor Matich. I'm Paul Kennedy. Welcome to Fox Sports Net. It's the first time this season the undefeated Wisconsin Badgers have journeyed outside Camp Randall Stadium, and the very first time in history, Trevor, that they've played here in Nippert Stadium.
And Paul, the Badgers have two opponents today. The Bearcats on the field, and in their minds, the specter of the Michigan Wolverines looming as next year's opponents. If the Badgers' head is not in this game, Paul, Cincinnati has players that can burn them.
Yeah, they went 11-1 a year ago, won the Rose Bowl. Their only loss to Michigan. It's natural to look ahead. Today, the numbers we'll be looking at, Ron Dayne needs but 206 yards to become the Big Ten's all-time leading rusher and overtake the immortal Archie Griffin.
And Archie Griffin, this record has stood for about a quarter century, Paul. When you look at the great rushers in the Big Ten, for a record to stand that long, it's amazing for Ron Dayne to be on the cusp of breaking that possibly today.
You're talking about a man that weighs better than 260 pounds. How is he able to move so nimbly?
You know, I don't know. If he were 2 inches shorter, he'd be square, Paul. The way to describe this guy is thick. So watch the Cincinnati players try to tackle him. It's like tackling a bowling ball as you look at his numbers there and the things that he is able to accomplish today in terms of breaking records.
He needs but 144 yards to reach 5,000. Only a handful of men have been able to do that. For Cincinnati to make a game of this, obviously the Bearcats decided underdogs. They must hold on to the football. A year ago as a sophomore, their quarterback, Deontey Kenner, became the first Bearcat in history to pass for more than 2,000 yards as an underclassman. He has a load of talent.
He does have a load of talent and a load of pressure today because he has the chance not just to be the MVP of the offense, but Deontey Kenner has a chance to be the MVP of the defense today. If he can play ball control passing, ball control option football, he can keep Ron Dayne on the sideline long enough for Cincinnati to possibly score enough points to pull this thing out.
Very nimble is Kenner, and so the defending co-champions of the Big Ten and Ron Dayne, the MVP of the Rose Bowl with those 4 touchdowns in January, 11-1 a year ago on the eve of opening their Big Ten slate, arrive here in Cincinnati to take on a Bearcat team with a win and a loss and looking to bounce back following an upset setback last week to 1AA Troy State.
And Troy State in the top 10 in 1AA there. Not a bad football team, but this will be the best team Wisconsin has played so far this year in their preseason non-conference tune-up set.
All right, for Wisconsin, the way they're able to control the line in front of Ron Dayne is a veteran offensive front. As Barry Alvarez brings the Big Red out today here at Cincinnati, it's an offensive line that returns virtually intact from the Rose Bowl win.
Intact and not just experienced, Paul. They've got over 100 starts among them on that offensive line. It's one of the most experienced in the NCAA. But they are huge, they are well coached, they are technically sound, and before you ever get to that big, thick horse, Ron Dayne, you've got to deal with all these 300-pounders across that line.
And if you're Rick Mitter here in Cincinnati defensively, you must move men around. Do you blitz a lot?
You know something? Look for them to start by twisting the defensive line to try to get into those running lanes and stymie the size advantage of Wisconsin. After that, what they will try to do, if it doesn't work, is slant the defensive line. If that doesn't work for Cincinnati, then they're going to go to the blitz. So we're going to see a progression to see what it takes to slow down that Ron Dayne running machine.
Wisconsin's faithful live for what they call the fifth quarter. And by the thousands, they have journeyed here to Cincinnati on the road for the first time this year. And that includes Bucky the Badger. As Cincinnati doesn't necessarily draw all that well during the regular season. In fact, the largest crowd in the history of this university, just over 30,000, set last season when Indiana came a-calling. Well, it's Wisconsin and Cincinnati today. We welcome you coast to coast on Fox Sports Net. The Game 2 and a long day of college football Saturday, the Great Dane on the banks of the Ohio River now to take on the Bearcats. And our opening kickoff featuring one of the great players in the history of the game is just ahead, live from Nippert. Now the Badgers have won the toss. They're going to get the football first. Now, how in the world, Lewis Johnson, do you try and tackle a man the size of Ron Dayne?
Paul, every week in college football, the second team acts as the scout team as they get ready to defend their opponent on the weekend. Well, this week, it's been a big job for defensive tackle Eric Llewellyn, who is normally at that defensive tackle position. But this week, he's played number 33, Ron Dayne. Why? Because he's huge, 6'2", 287 pounds. And for the defensive backs of the Bearcats, it's been tackle drill practice all week. You know, I talked to Tinker Keck, who will be in that backfield for the Bearcats, and he said there's no way they can bring this guy down by hitting him up high. If you hit him in the mid-session, well, your chances get a little better. But the freight train Ron Dayne has to be brought down by hitting him in his wheels. And then for these guys who may not be so big, imagine bringing him down and making sure that he doesn't fall on top of you.
Can you imagine, Trevor? They were using an underclassman, a red shirt this week, to try and mimic the size of Ron Dayne, an interior lineman. Barry Alvarez will be on crutches today. He twisted his knee prior to the Ball State game, getting off the team bus a week ago, and he's obviously in pain. Rick Minter now in his sixth season here at Cincinnati, of 5 seasons, as you see, in the past, hoping to restore the roar for the Bearcats. They have struggled last year, dropped their first 9, finished at 2-9. A grand opportunity lies in store today if they can simply compete against Wisconsin. Wisconsin special teams are outstanding, as Jason Mammarelli and the Bearcats know so very well. Mammarelli, as you can see, better than half of his kickoffs have sailed into the end zone, and that is the best way to defend Nick Davis, who ranks second in all of college football in returning kicks. He is in tandem with Michael Bennett as they split the hashes, and we are underway today from Cincinnati. And that is a Mammarelli monster. So here will come Wisconsin on first down. Scott Kavanaugh, the fifth-year senior, will get the nod today out of Naperville, Illinois. He waited a long time to be the starting quarterback here, and now has the opportunity. This is only his third career starting assignment. A conventional pocket passer with size, standing better than 6 feet, 4 inches tall. Here's Scott Kavanaugh. And the lone back behind him, Ron Dayne, of course, on first down, and a pair of tight ends for the Badgers. And the throw on first down, they come this way, and the catch is made at the 29-yard line. It's Ahmad Merritt who hauls it down in front of the corner, Jeff Burrows. So Kavanaugh connects with Merritt. The opening play of the game, Chris McIntosh, the largest up front at 3'10", the senior captain for the Badgers. And Nick Davis, the wide receiver as well as a kick returner. Ahmad Merritt with the first catch today. The defense in a moment. Shifting. Dayne, the first carry. Weaving his way out across the 30 up to the 38-yard line, and cutting through a hole as he started to his left, back to his right. You get the flow going against you. This defensive front today, Mario Mons, the largest up front, and at 329, the only man in the front seven of comparable size to Dayne Eddie Johnson, the leading tackler of this trio, in the middle linebacker. And in the secondary, DeJuan Gossett has gotten off to an outstanding year, a converted linebacker now, and playing free safety. He is a hitter. The tight end Sigmund shifts to the left side. The draw there. Dayne to midfield and across the midfield stripe to the 48-yard line. DeJuan Gossett had to come up there, a gain of 13.
Tackle on the play by DeJuan Gossett.
But Paul, and you mentioned
Gain of 12 on the play. It'll be
take a look at McIntosh right up here. He's going to be going up against a linebacker, number 48, Evans. And take a look at him, drive him onto his back. Now keep your eyes on the right side of the screen, right there on the right, here. Onto his back, and you wonder why number 33 can run that way.
Had 2 carries, 23 yards. First carry for Eddie Faulkner. Eddie Faulkner, a 193-pound junior for the last couple of seasons, has been spelling Ron Dayne, a quality performer out of Muncie, Indiana. Tinker Keck on the stop.
And Faulkner's just the opposite of Ron Dayne. Ron Dayne's the big plow horse. Faulkner's a real shifty guy. And so it's a different look for the defense to have to adjust to.
5th play of this opening possession as the Bearcats break the huddle and send both Nick Davis in the slot and Ahmad Merritt to the bottom of your screen. Chad Coons, the fullback. Kavanaugh throws and it's caught. Tinker Keck with the right arm in to bat it away.
Well, that was pure one-on-one coverage, Paul. They had 9 guys stacked in the middle to stop the run. And Tinker Keck on Davis, number 9 on number 22, is perfect one-on-one coverage. And so as the ball comes out, take a look at how close Tinker is, right there to Davis. And Davis is one of the fastest guys on this football field today.
See why Tinker Keck, an all-conference performer, was missed so sorely last year when these Bearcats struggled. An important snap here for Cincinnati. Kavanaugh in the flat, no. And it's 4th down. Those Bearcat coaches upstairs applauding the effort of their defense. And the punting unit is on for Wisconsin and for Cincinnati.
Well, Paul, they take the first shot that Wisconsin has to give. This is the 9th ranked team in the nation. And Cincinnati holds them 3 and out on the opening drive.
Tinker Keck now standing at his 10-yard line to field the punt of Kevin Stemke. He has to be the best putter at all the Big Ten. Keck at the 12, 13. He never calls for a fair catch. Rarely has in his career. Makes the tough grab there, and from the 15-yard line, following the tackle by Michael Bennett. That was a 34-yard punt. The Bearcats will go on offense for the first time. When he was a high school star, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Deontey Kenner established nearly every passing record in the Bluegrass State, and now a starter for just the 2nd season. The lion's share of the load for Cincinnati here collegiately. Robert Cooper, the lone setback, a 3-receiver formation. Tony Schmeichel on the move. Cooper. A solid gain of 5, right up the middle. Doug Rossfeld, the center, running behind him on that offensive front. The junior from Cincinnati and fabled Moeller High School in the suburbs here. The captain, Robert Cooper, on the carry. Jason Collins-Baker just coming into his own. The leading receiver, the junior from Detroit. Well, spotted a gain of 6. Out of the gun now. Kenner. Baker dropped the ball at the 40-yard line. In a sun field. He couldn't hold on. He was wide open. Defensively for Wisconsin up front. Wendell Bryant turns all of 19 years old this week. Had a huge game in the Rose Bowl win over MVP as an 18-year-old freshman. Donnell Thompson, one of 2 Thompson brothers to start inside. The leading tackler in the middle. He's had a great career in red and in the secondary. The school of hard knocks as applied by the free safety, Jason Doring. 3rd down. They need 4. Jason Collins Baker a second time. Kenner laid it in there twice. They'll have to kick it away.
That's all the coach can do, is put the players in position to make the play. And Collins Baker had 2 opportunities there to make big plays to sustain this drive. He'll come back. He's one of the guys they'll be counting on, and that's why they went to him in those 2 situations early. But he has got to get it together mentally now and not let this affect him.
Adam Wolfeck will kick to Nick Davis. We told you earlier he was the second leading kickoff man in college football in all the nation. He leads the nation in punt returns. A high punt from his 27. Makes the catch, and down he goes. Superb special teams play by LaVar Glover. There is a flag down, however. Away from the tackle. That was speed by the gunner. Sprint down there and a high collar tackle on Davis.
Well, the gunner, you put your fastest guys who are the meanest guys. Glover's a great athlete. He's been a wide receiver here. They moved him this year to defensive back because of his athleticism and depth problems there. And there you see on special teams, he was able to go down and make a big play. As we look at Barry Alvarez, not happy with the game start that his Badgers have put up so far.
Dan Bloom, our referee.
Block in the back on the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
A 53-yard punt and the block in the back on the part of Wisconsin. The Bearcats playing well at the outset today. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by the all-new 2000 Buick LeSabre by Buick, re-engineered to be safer than ever. And by CDW. CDW, computing solutions built for business. From the campus of the University of Cincinnati and Nippert Stadium. First played football here in 1916. 8 decades of history and a man looking to rewrite the history books of college football, Ron Dayne. The second possession of the early going for Wisconsin. Motion along the line, apparently by the Bearcats as flags fly, and Dayne is wrestled down at the 15-yard line. Those defensive linemen for the Bearcats, their adrenaline level, Trevor, I doubt if it gets much higher than it could possibly be today to face Dayne in a Big Ten school.
And they're going to need it. They're going to need every bit of adrenaline here in order to be able to do what they need to do, because it's going to be up to them to take the pain that offensive line of Wisconsin can distribute.
Our officials today assigned by Jim Campbell and Conference USA.
Holding, offense, offsides, defense, penalties offset, replay first down.
Thought I saw Darrell Ransom jump up front. Take a look at the weights of these men, Trevor. That's 30 pounds a man.
And look at this.
40.
Look at this. 252 here. There's only 2 guys on this whole defensive line that weigh more than Ron Dayne. Just 2. You talk about having adrenaline up. Well, adrenaline is what's going to carry it, because you're going to need some adrenaline when you get hit in the head by that kind of a freight train.
On first down. In motion, up front. Dayne cuts it outside. Barrels straight ahead. Ivan Fields, Antonio Davis on the stop. That's 2 straight cadences by Wisconsin and Kavanaugh that the Bearcats have jumped early into the neutral zone. Dayne gained 7 yards on first down there.
Well, Wisconsin is expecting the Rick Smith Tulane style attacking defense.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And so Rick Minter knows that he's got to get his defense to get off the ball and penetrate to have a chance to be able to stop this. They can't man up with that offensive line. And so Barry Alvarez wants to get the hard count to use that against the defensive line.
Rick Minter, much like Barry Alvarez, his job prior to coming here to Cincinnati, he was Lou Holt's defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. And Barry Alvarez can say the same, hired a decade ago from the South Bend campus. As they mark off the penalties, substitution shuffle in, the ball will be spotted at the 26-yard line. And every second, every minute that ticks away without Wisconsin in the end zone or Ron Dayne cradling the football, that tilts in favor of Cincinnati. Nick to the block. Out across the 25 and close to the 30-yard line. Gary Ruff, the strong safety, had to come up to make the stop on him.
Now this is what you're going to see from Dayne all game long. You're going to see yards after the initial contact. He's got a couple of Cincinnati Bearcats on him, and the last thing that he does is throw his shoulder into the last man as he's going down, linebacker Eddie Johnson. Now take a look as he breaks through a really big hole. Ruff grabs him there, he's dragging him. That last guy, 52. Dayne just bowls him over as a last exclamation point.
31 already today, and a couple of more. In the middle, Eddie Johnson. Stop there. Let's go down to the field. The third member of our broadcast team, Louis Johnson.
Paul, thanks. You and Trevor were talking about the emotion of the Cincinnati Bearcat defense earlier. Well, I'm reflecting back to that early series where they took the Badgers out after 3 plays. And when they came to the sideline, they were actually on full tilt, and their defensive line, Keith Willis, had to literally get in the face of each player and say, hey, you can't come off the field hyperventilating like that. That's the word he used. He said, we've got to play like this in the 4th quarter, Paul.
Hyperventilating. Wow. On second down, pressure, and down it goes. The first sack today of Canada. Troy Evans from his blind side knocks down Scott Kavanaugh.
Well, Kavanaugh thought he was going to have wide receivers open. He had man-to-man coverage with a 9-man front. Now here is Evans. He's going to come through and make this sack. But look at Kavanaugh look down the field and try to find somebody to throw to. There's nobody there. And that's why he still got that football. He's waiting for the one-on-one guy to come open, and while he does, look at this shot. Blind! And look at the head snap. Always look at the head snap. That's what the players look for when they watch film the next day.
Third down and very long, and Wisconsin is going to take timeout. Cincinnati's played pretty darn well here at the outset of this game.
Fans, you're invited to Bearcat.
And Wisconsin looking to convert as we step aside. Rick Minter, a defensive mind earlier in his career. Today is the head coach, strategizing against Ron Dayne.
We're petitioning to see if we can't allow to get ourselves 13 or 14 guys out there, or sneak a few kids on there, you know. But all in all, it's going to be, and we did have to practice the other day tackling a defensive tackle, because he's about the only guy we have that weighs about 270. Right now, Ron Dayne weighs more than every defensive football player except Mario Mons, you know. So if I put Mario at tailback and ran at Wisconsin, it'd be about similar outcome.
Well, he can only put 11 on the field right now. A 3-receiver set, as you see. Third down, though, and 16. Yard line to reach the 40-yard line for Kavanaugh. The pressure's coming again. He just does unload the ball, and it's broken up incomplete at midfield. He was buried a second time, was Kavanaugh, by Troy Evans, and Carlton Sykes, a linebacker, running with a wide receiver, broke the pass up.
He was running with Merritt, who's a real tough, fast receiver. And Troy Evans came unblocked from the opposite side this time. Paul, this is good defensive scheme. The last play, pass, Troy Evans came unblocked from the defensive right side. This play, another pass, Troy Evans comes unblocked from the defensive left side. So they were able to scheme that. Wisconsin has got to figure out a way to pick him up.
Bearcats should enjoy following the Stimke punt. Pretty good field position, kicking the Tinker Cat. He did not hit it well. It takes a Bearcat bounce and will be down at the 45-yard line. Hey, coming up tomorrow, the National Football League at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, out west on Fox Sports Net. Chris Myers, Jackie Slater, Chris Spielman, Marv Levy, previewing the day's slate of NFL action. Followed, of course, by Fox NFL Sunday on your local Fox affiliate. All tomorrow. A great debut. Congratulations, gentlemen, last week as the NFL season got underway. Good debut here in the early going. No score for Cincinnati. Young quarterback Deontey Kenner at the helm. The quick hitch to the flat. That's caught for a couple. Really nowhere for Ladaris Van, a young freshman to run. Jamar Fletcher, one of the best corners in the nation a year ago as a freshman in the Big Ten, made the open field tackle.
And the thing to watch for here as they open this game is multiple formations. Cincinnati wants to give Wisconsin's defense a lot of things to look at. So that time they had two tight ends packed in a running formation, and they threw the ball outside. This time they've got 4 wide receivers in a passing formation.
2nd and 8. For Kenner to midfield. He picks up about a couple of yards, and we are midway through our opening quarter as we welcome those of you who have enjoyed another big team in action, but by a field goal, Northwestern over Duke, 15-12. Lewis Johnson on the sidelines, Trevor Matich alongside. I'm Paul Kennedy. A beautiful day for college football today. The first time in history the Badgers have played here. Thanks to the Ohio River in Cincinnati.
Pick up a 3 on the play. It'll be 3rd down.
3rd down now. UC seeking its first down of the afternoon. Blitz coming and incomplete. Again intended for Jason Collins Baker. It hit him in the hands. Bobby Myers, the safety man, was there. That's 3 times Collins Baker's been unable to make a catch.
And that's 0 for 3 so far today for him. The coach has got to look him in the eye on the sideline now and see if he's spooked or not. He's got to see if those eyes are big like a saucer or focused like a laser for him to be able to go back to him and risk another drop.
Adam Wolfeck to punt. He hangs it high. This is not Nick Davis, but rather Tim Rosga. As the ball skips into the end zone, will be brought out to the 20-yard line. In our opening quarter, on a sunny day in Cincinnati. No score on Fox Sports Net. The Badgers of Wisconsin on the field and looking to get that offense on track. They have been stymied so far today by Cincinnati. We are midway through our opening quarter. Ron Dayne now, but 7 yards shy of reaching top 10 in the history of college football. He needed 40 today, and there's Tinker Keck and his numbers through the years. On 1st down, Dayne bounces it outside and out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. When he rolled to the MVP of the Rose Bowl, the honors a year ago in January, he ran behind a veteran offensive line, and they have been together intact, and he is off today.
And he's patient. Look at his patience as he waits for that veteran line to open those holes. He's a bull in there, but he's a bull with eyes and a bull with patience to pick his spots.
Of all the great backs in the history of the Big Ten, and this man close to out-rushing them all. Dayne. Bit of his power there to work his way out to the 30-yard line, and he picked up 4. And that'll carry him past Paul Palmer of Temple, the 10th place in the history of college football. And Thompson up there too, Trevor from Indiana.
There are some huge names there, and he's going to break more records today if he keeps on running like he's been. That's just one of several that could fall this afternoon.
Dayne expecting today his last game and carried 31 times. We expect to see between 25 and 30 touches. Cincinnati shows blitz. Dayne right behind it. Moves the pile for 5 out to the 35-yard line.
Well, Lewis said early, Paul, that they've got to tackle him low. He moves that pile because a bunch of defensive backs jumped on top of him. And if you do that, you're going to get an E-ticket right down the field. That defense, Tinker Keck led, has got to go low and get under him. I want you to look at his legs, Ron Dayne. Look at his hips. Even hitting him in the hips and thighs is too high. He is thick.
Barry was down to 1 crutch a moment ago. He's got the second one now. Obvious pain. On the draw. Running room for Eddie Faulkner. The change of pace earns a first down. Mentioned it earlier, Trevor, the way they complement each other in their styles of running.
Eddie Faulkner, the ball carrier.
Well, Faulkner
Tackle
is
made by
a
Lamar
herky-jerky guy.
Glover.
Now, he's going to come to the offensive right. Now, right here, he's going to see this is stuffed up, and he's going to come right out here. That's because that veteran offensive line is very patient and they stick on their blocks. That's just a gargantuan hole, but Faulkner will get through that gargantuan hole and into the defensive backfield faster than Dayne will.
And Barry on the headset to his offensive coordinator. Upstairs, Brian White calling the plays today. Chad Coons, the fullback, brought it in to the huddle. Kavanaugh throws on the run to Coons. And he has about 3, does Chad, the sophomore. Just his second reception of this still young season. Wisconsin has not thrown to its back very much. First couple of weeks, I don't think they want to show Michigan next week anything offensively.
Well, especially his fullback. Barry Alvarez uses those fullbacks to block for those big tailbacks. And he's had tremendous success doing it as you look at the bowl games that he's taken this team to just over the last several years. Keep in mind, he showed up in about 1990 to a Wisconsin organization that was just messed up and has turned it around completely.
And restored the tradition of, you might say, Kavanaugh. How about messed up? Turf monster gets him at the 40-yard line. Stumbled over the stripe.
Got Kavanaugh trips in the backfield.
Been a stumbling start in large measure for Wisconsin.
And this helps Cincinnati. Paul, you mentioned it was that foot right there, stepped on his foot.
Casey Robach, the center.
But what's going on here right now is that Cincinnati is hanging in. They're tied with Wisconsin. There's only 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. And as long as Ron Dayne rips off 5-yard, 7-yard runs, Cincinnati is happy. They just don't want them to rip off 20 and 30-yarders so that Wisconsin has to be disciplined all the way down the field. Gives them a chance to make a mistake.
Third and long, they need 14. Blitz coming over the middle. Spinning away Nick Davis. What a tough catch. And Tinker drags him down by his shirt down at the 30-yard line.
Well, that's that big play that Cincinnati did not want to have happen. Tinker Keck tries to turn it into a big play for them, though. I want you to watch as this ball comes out. Kavanaugh makes a great throw here. Watch Tinker Keck not try to make the tackle, but rather try to hold Davis up and strip the ball out. Now, number 9 is Keck. And watch him hold him up by the jersey. He's not going to try to tackle him. Now watch this arm go through over here and try to strip. Watch this. He's holding him up, and there's the strip right there. Now, he doesn't get the ball, but he'll do that all game long.
After a gain of 33, the Badgers hand the ball to 33. And he's down to the 27-yard line. Ron Dayne with less than 3 minutes remaining in our opening quarter.
And Paul, that pass was good for Wisconsin. They've tried to throw the ball so far today. They have not been able to do it. And Barry Alvarez, with Michigan coming up, knows that he's got to get the passing game uncorked now, because Michigan won't be quite so easy to run the ball against as Ball State.
Waiting moments of this first quarter, Ron Dayne close to 50 yards on the ground. Pinned in there. And able to stretch it back to the original line of scrimmage. Mario Mons, the defensive tackle, junior college transfer from Fort Pierce, Florida.
We'll be watching Mons all game. He's the one guy on this defensive line that can stand up physically to this Wisconsin offensive line. Now take a look at him push the center Robach back into the backfield and makes his own pile right there. That's a pure Mario Mons special. He drove the center back, he made a pile, and that's why Dayne wasn't able to go through. Now he's going to take a well-deserved rest, but this guy, number 90, is going to figure huge in Cincinnati's defense today.
3rd and 9. 10th play of this drive that began at the 20. Kavanaugh throws it complete. Very fortunate it wasn't a gone 80 with it.
He's gone all the way. He just got his legs tangled up with the receiver as he broke on that football. But this again, Paul, this is a win for Cincinnati. Now there's a minute and a half left to go. It's still scoreless. We'll see if they can make this field goal. But Cincinnati now knows that Wisconsin is not Superman. Cincinnati knows they can play with these guys and give them fits if they do what they've been coached to do.
Russian-born Vitaly Posetsky from 45 out of the hold of Tim Roskin. And it is good. Plenty of leg. Wisconsin, ranked 9th in all the nation, puts the first 3 on the board today and leads in its first trip to Nippert Stadium. Vitaly Posetsky, a 45-yard field goal, set up by the running of Ron Dayne in quest to win the Heisman.
As long as, we go out and play as a team and play hard and, and we winning, then the awards come at the end. So, you know, if I do win the Heisman, I'm, you know, dedicated to my line. I want them to come up there and do the talking and everything because they the guys that's out there for 100 plays. You know, I'm only out there for 30 or 40 plays at the most.
Isn't he quiet-spoken?
He's soft-spoken, and, you know, he's got a lovely daughter, Jada. And one of the biggest compliments I've heard said about this man is how he lights up when his daughter walks into the room. And, you know, to me, I'm impressed by a great father more than a great football player every day of the week.
Vitaly Posetsky has kicked about half of his efforts throughout his career at Camp Randall out of the end zone. This is in the direction of Jason Collins Baker, who again has trouble with the football. That is 4 times today Jason Collins Baker has been unable to catch the ball. What a great lineup. Next, you will see on Fox Sports Net a week away. Oklahoma, the Boomers Sooners with Bobby Stoops at the helm. Into Papa John to take on Chris Redmond in DeVille. Louisville Cardinals and Nebraska, which has its hands full today against Southern Miss, faces Mizzou out west. The Trojans of USC and the Ducks of Oregon. It all starts at 3:30 Eastern next week on Fox Sports Net. Trying to get that offense started. Deontey Kenner, the junior, out of the gun. A 3-man rush, and he throws, and Baker. Tougher catch this time, upfield at the 45-yard line. Could not hold on. Mike Eccles was there.
When he came to the sideline after those previous drops, the series before, the coach must have seen in his eyes, focus like a laser, that he wanted that ball back. And that time, it was just a great defensive play by Eccles to make that drop. It wasn't a drop by Collins Baker.
See, he was coming off a career-best day last week in a loss, 11 receptions. Not one today, and only 1 completion so far for this man in Kenner. Now 2, and he finds a little slip screen, Jason Collins Baker. That's a tough catch to come across the middle, isn't it, like that, for a slight guy like Collins Baker?
Well, it's because of the guys that are in the middle waiting for him. You've got Donnell Thompson, Chris Goodorzi. You've got guys that are absolute killers, and that's good courage by Collins Baker. And I'm glad they did that. That's nothing but a confidence builder for that young man, because they will need him in this game.
Still looking for the first down of the afternoon from the Bearcats. On 3rd down. They may have it for the first time. Tony Schmeichel. Upfield at 35 consecutive completions here. Half a minute to go in the first quarter. You can follow Conference USA and its football playing institutions, www on the World Wide Web, c-usa.org. Throughout the year. Off the left side, Robert Cooper, the captain. That's a ramble of 11. And the first down. Couple of completions. And the run of 11 by the captain and Cooper.
Paul, we talked about the patience of Dayne. Take a look at the patience now of Cooper as he allows his offensive line to spread that defense out and then squirts through once that hole opens up.
That'll be the final play of the first quarter, a 4-receiver set. Cooper. The 210-pound running back, the most experienced player, and this is 36th start for Cincinnati. As Rick Minter's team in great shape near midfield as we go to our second quarter, and the Bearcats lead, but by a field goal. College football Saturday on Fox Sports Net from the city, named after the legendary Roman Cincinnatus. What a lovely day across Ohio today, and the Midwest as Wisconsin, from the Big Ten, pays the first call in the storied history of its football program up on Nippert Stadium. They lead but by a field goal. Posetsky from 45. But Kenner has the Bearcats moving, and Cooper cuts outside at the 30. Touchdown, Cincinnati. yards. Robert Cooper. And Cincinnati leads.
And Paul, they hit that left side, third play in a row, that they go right over Kurt Doolan and Andy Weinheimer on the left side, and Barry Alvarez cannot figure out how on earth they had such a big play on the ground.
Jonathan Ruffin, the freshman, to add the extra point. What do you think the reaction will be throughout the country when this score is announced? Robert Cooper and the Bearcats, 7-3. Cincinnati leads 7-3 on Robert Cooper's 51-yard touchdown jaunt.
Doolan cuts Favre. Weinheimer comes down and blocks down on Malik, and Godorsky blitzes over here. It creates a huge gap right there. And on the left side of that offensive line, Cincinnati has a physical advantage in size. Both of those guys, Weinheimer and Doolan, are over 300 pounds going against guys that weigh about 240. And we said at the beginning, Paul, that Cincinnati has guys that could run. Cooper has the speed and the strength to burn Wisconsin if those guys let him get loose, and that just was an example of what we were talking about.
Jason Mammarelli to kick to Nick Davis, along with the sophomore Michael Bennett. And this is toward Davis, and he'll down it 9 yards into the end zone. Number 33 was to be the star today, but I thought that was Ron Davis, not the 33 worn by Cooper.
I guess Cooper didn't read the right press releases. This is one thing that Rick Minter wanted to have happen here. Take your shots for big plays. He didn't expect his team to grind it out on the ground against Wisconsin. Nobody grinds it out on the ground consistently in a long drive. But if you can get a big play like this, you have a chance to put points on the board without having to challenge them in their face every time. And that is just effort by Cooper. He's done an outstanding job of consistency. That one was big.
And now here comes the other 33, and if this was a wake-up call, watch those legs turn. Wisconsin knows now that there is a football game to be played today, and it is only logical, if you did not believe that the Bearcats weren't peeking ahead to the maize and blue of Michigan next week, well, to be honest, we have to send Bucky the Badger over to take away your red Wisconsin sweater. It's only logical when you're going to face the only team that beat you last season.
Well, that was Rick Minter's hope here, that Wisconsin wouldn't be at the top of their game, and they'd make a few mistakes that his Bearcats could capitalize on.
Solid gain of 7. You see the movement up front, and Dayne. He's such a force. He has such momentum moving forward. And he gets down at low center of gravity. Antonio Davis up from the secondary has a tough time to chop it.
Look at the size of his butt there, Paul.
Excuse me?
That's a bait right there. That thing right there. That would feed, and that's huge. And but it's like trying to tackle a bowling ball. You can't get low enough to get under his center of gravity.
Defense, decline, first down.
Kirk Thompson moved early. It's the referee Dan Bloom.
Now it's going to be right here. That's Wortman.
Checked out as Dan Wortman.
Ball is on the 35-yard line.
A new quarterback, Brooks Bollinger, checks in. They will alternate, expected to today. Bollinger at the helm. Running back behind him, play action to Faulkner. Bollinger very mobile. Bollinger throws, and it is intercepted by Jeff Burrow. And Cincinnati earns the first turnover of the game.
Is intercepted by number 8, Jeff Burrow.
The first interception this year by Burrow, the senior. And the Bearcats have the ball on Barry's side of the field.
This is the zone. He's going to start out over here. And what you're going to see is Burrow just settle in right here. When the ball comes out, the young quarterback, Bollinger, doesn't see Burrow settle in. There's Burrow right here. And he just settles into that zone. And Bollinger, that's the problem. He doesn't have the time that Kavanaugh has in the system. Reading defenses he has to think about still.
Out of the gun, a very multiple offensive set now. Deontey Kenner, a 3-man rush, and throws off his back foot. Long downfield, and it's incomplete in double coverage. The intended target, Antonio Chapman. Fans grumble a bit as if there may have been contact while the ball was in the air. On the phone, Brooks Bollinger. Upstairs, hardcore football each and every Tuesday, It's the Mad Bomber himself. How appropriate here is that? Number 3, Daryl LaMonica. Come your way Tuesday on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listings. Loosen up that defense, Trevor, by Kenner. Now inside. And Cooper cradle. Already with more yards in his first half than he had in 2 previous games. He missed last week's game, did Cooper. Unfortunately, a death in the family. And that hurt Cincinnati as they were upset by a 1-AA team.
And who would have thought that Cooper is out rushing Dayne to that extent so far today? That's the big plays that they were talking about.
3rd down. Again, a 5-receiver formation. A 3-man rush. The hitch snared by Chapman. He held on to the ball at the 42-yard line.
Deontey Kenner's pass.
And the punting unit will come on.
Well, that's a good read by Kenner. He's going to come. The blitz is going to come off here. So as soon as he sees Fletcher come in there, he throws it where Fletcher used to be. But oh man,
Darn!
That's. You got to wonder if that's worth it to not get the first down and take a shot like this. Take a look at this shot that Chapman takes. Woo, helmet to helmet. And again, the head snap. That's what players look at.
Tim Rosca to field this punt. Usually does when he expects it to be inside the 10. This just scooted away. Skipped into the end zone away from LeVar Glover. Time for Bollinger and the Bearcats to go back to work. A surprising score in the first half. From the campus of the University of Cincinnati, College Football Saturday, brought to you by CDW. CDW, computing solutions built for business. The leaves just starting to turn. Autumn hue of colors in this part of the country. Coaching staff for Wisconsin, though, beat red over the early turn of events here. It has been a struggle, and in fact, backup quarterback Brooks Bollinger pulled in favor of Scott Kavanaugh after throwing the interception. Cincinnati could do nothing with it. Now here comes Wisconsin. Faulkner. Close to the 25-yard line for Eddie. Let's go to our Fox Network Center in Los Angeles. Our College Football Saturday host, well, here's Kevin Frazier. Jeff Bauer has a solid defense. Thank you very much, Kevin. And Nebraska has found that out this afternoon. As Ron Dayne is finding out that the Bearcats from Cincinnati have come to play today defensively. They've been laying the headgear on Ron Dayne.
Well, adrenaline, that's what it's about. Attacking, and hitting and attacking. They're attacking the players, they're attacking the holes. And even Dayne, right there, can't get anywhere because of the penetration. That's what Rick Smith brings to it. Penetration up front, that allows interceptions as well. Rick Smith, over from Tulane, defensive brain trust, that's his style.
Kavanaugh throws the pass, juggle, held on to. Where's the forward progress on the catch by Nick Davis?
Oh,
just
no, I disagree with that.
For the first down, where they mark him, although he was juggling the ball inside the 30. They're going to give him a very favorable mark outside the 30-yard line.
No, I don't see that. He would have had to have had the ball in possession, then had it knocked loose after he possessed it. Is this possessed or not? Right there, he gets the hit. You know something? Okay, the ref had an angle there, and he may have said that he had the ball in his hands and later had it knocked out.
Well, our referee, Dan Bloom, has called his crew over to discuss the spot of the football, and they're probably doing the right thing here. Just let the call stand. Although Rick Minter is 4 yards onto the field, disagreeing, vehement. A first down. In motion, Ahmad Merritt. Dayne. Outside. Free. To midfield. The size of the big man, not contained until dragged down from behind by Carlton Sykes.
Tackle made by Carlton Sykes.
He gained 29.
Well, this is patience again. Look at Adams. Come up over here. He'll duck inside, and he'll be cut by Coons right there. And then the eyes of Dayne is going to see that the contained man's inside, so he goes outside. That play was supposed to go underneath, but instead he breaks it out. Now, this is good speed for a guy this size. This guy goes, nearly 250 pounds. To run that far down the field before he gets caught by a DB is pretty amazing.
On Wisconsin, about halfway home to the 206 he needs to overtake Archie Griffin, and being spelled now by Faulkner. And he'll continue to climb the rungs of this ladder. Out of number 9 and a Heisman Trophy winner, and George Rogers, the Gamecock, sits right in front of him.
He's only got 7 yards to go. Although Faulkner's in the game now, his next carry, he might go up to number 8.
Gamecocks today, Georgia's alma mater, facing East Carolina. Lou Holtz debut in Columbia. Second down. Merritt on the move. Faulkner. Pinned in, cut left. And he darts about, doesn't Faulkner?
He does dart. Stop, start, stop, start. And he's taking advantage of the second team defensive line. The first team defensive line is now coming back on the field. But this is the second team one. They over pursue to the left side of your screen. And Faulkner sees that, darts right back to the right side of your screen. The whole second team defensive line just came out of the game. The whole first team defensive line is back in. They put him in there to begin with, Paul, to spell those starters, but it started to hurt him on this drive, so those guys need to suck it up.
A gain of 11 for Faulkner, still in there. Davis now in motion, at the top of your picture. This is Faulkner, right, and roll down. Ron Dayne being attended to right now, his left ankle, as the training staff works on him.
Well, you can look at all the padding and all the tape that's on there already. And this is reminiscent of what's happened to Ricky Williams with the Saints right now. We've seen him hobble just a little bit as he's come off the field a time or two today, just like Ricky Williams in that Saints uniform has been. Same kind of situation. Hopefully not as severe.
95 yards on the ground so far for Dayne today. Faulkner stood up at the line of scrimmage by DeJuan Gossett. DeJuan Gossett may be a safety man by position, but he plays like a linebacker. And they're the concern for Ron Dayne, and again, the Big Ten schedule begins next week.
Well, Ron Dayne and his offensive brain trust are not concerned about him winning the Heisman and breaking records so much as they are winning the Big Ten and going to the Rose Bowl. They think that the records will come in the course of doing that. But he needs to average about 156 yards a game for the rest of the season to break Ricky Williams' all-time record. And if he doesn't play the rest of this game, he's going to have an uphill climb.
Third down now, needing fourth. Kavanaugh throws the first down by Ahmad Merritt into a sun field in front of Ivan Fields, a freshman corner. It's a first down, and the drive continues.
This ball was in the air, Paul, before Merritt turned around. Take a look. When Kavanaugh throws this football, looking at Merritt the whole way, Merritt's not even turning around yet. Now he turns around and catches that ball. And that's what you get when you've got an experienced quarterback. Kavanaugh was a guy that sat around for 4 years. Now he's finally starting, and he's been able to use that experience to do good things in this offense.
Ron Dayne returns now behind the fullback in Chad Kuhn. Dayne looked to cut back, slipped the tackle at the line of scrimmage, and is close to the end zone. Parallel to the ground, the final 5 yards of that run.
Well, this is another parallel to Ricky Williams. Just like Ricky Williams last year, almost 50% of Ron Dayne's yardage over his career come after first contact. And there you're looking at almost 10 yards that occurred after he was hit in the backfield.
Ron Dayne now over 100 here in the first half. And settling behind Coons. A two tight end set. No surprise here, except he lost the ball going down and is ruled down on contact. Stacked up at the 2-yard line. Cincinnati and everybody in the stadium knew he would handle it. The ball for a moment appeared to be on its way out before he hit the ground.
Paul, look at Dayne run here. He runs slow, and is he limping? What do you think? Is he gimpy right there? That looks to me like that ankle might have been bothering him more than he cares to admit to the training staff on the sideline as he comes off the field now to take a break.
Off he comes, Faulkner back in. That ball appeared loose. But Wisconsin holds on, trailing here. Faulkner wrapped up at the 5, squirts to the 3. And it is 4th down.
Well, Paul, there's that first string defensive line that's been giving him grief. Mario Mons, who now is limping off the field himself. This would be a devastating loss if he can't come back. But look at Mons come in here and get penetration right there. They think that Mons has a chance to play on Sundays, to be an NFL guy. He's just a junior, but if he continues his development, he is a guy that can be a Warren Sapp kind of player.
Vitaly Posetsky has already kicked a 45-yarder. A week ago, he missed a chip shot. That's pretty much it, about 21 yards. And no problem. Well, Wisconsin has its second score, but it still trails upset-minded Cincinnati late in our first half. Couple of concerns for Wisconsin. First, the scoreboard, and Lewis Johnson, Ron Dayne.
Well, Paul, all the guys are looking at him. The doctors, the trainers are trying to figure out what's happening with that left ankle. I had a report a moment ago that on the long 29-yard run, someone fell on his ankle after the run. Saw him go back on the field, come back to the sideline. They're still trying to figure out what's going on, Paul.
That was Carlton Sykes with the collar tackle there. I mean, we don't see later if Troy Evans, 48 atop your picture, stepped on it. It did not appear to be the case. But Dayne did not look completely healthy on 2nd and goal from the 1.
No,
lost a yard.
He was gimpy and couldn't push off on that ankle when he tried to turn the corner.
Jason Collins Baker, a yard deep. Swoop down at the 16-yard line. The stop made by Roger Knight.
Jason Collins Baker.
You know, the European team is set. Well, for Ben Crenshaw, he'll be on Going Deep to talk about the United States Ryder Cup delegation. Going Deep, Sunday at 9 on Fox Sports Net. He's been a member of the Ryder Cup team on 4 different occasions, and here the team that we will send. Ryder Cup competition, Rolf, Furyk, Lehman, Justin Leonard, Phil Mickelson, of course, Mark O'Mara from Orlando, along with Payne in his +4s, and Tiger Woods on first down. Kenner hands Cooper. Cooper with a good major miss. On first down to get a couple of yards. John Favre, the rush in, looked like he had him in the backfield. He got away there and stopped this time by Bobby Myers.
Well, Favre didn't make you miss as well. Number 96, Kurt Doohan, has been pushing him around the field. But that time, Favre did an Olay. He just jumped outside, and poor Doohan didn't have anything but air to go into, and that's what freed up Favre to make that play.
Look way up the top of your screen, too, Trevor. That is Cooper, the running back, stretching the defense across the field. And now the slant route, and that was just a poor pass on the part of Deontey Kenner for Antonio Chapman, who was slanting open. Now look at this, 103 yards, yes, but concerned about Ron Dayne's ankle. He is halfway to the 206 mark he needs to eclipse Archie Griffin, become the Big Ten's all-time leading rusher. At the Bearcats, have broken a long touchdown run. Robert Cooper, they have sacked Wisconsin's quarterback Scott Kavanaugh, and they've picked off young freshman Brooks Bollinger.
And that goal line stand for a young team to build confidence is the most important single stat up on that graphic.
Just a couple of field goals so far for Wisconsin. Kenner hesitates, now throws to Chapman. And Antonio Chapman from Los Angeles, an El Camino Junior College, in only his 3rd game of his Bearcat career, is able to snare it.
Well, Chapman playing some cat and mouse here with Fletcher. Fletcher looked like he was going to try to blitz. He came back out to cover. Chapman, with patience, worked his way open.
Remember, it's a 3 and out for Cincinnati, and Wolfick will kick to Nick Davis, who can turn a game around pretty quickly.
The guy is electrifying, number 22, and he hasn't broken out this game so far. He hasn't had a chance.
Heat coming. Kick is away. And it sails to a wonderful punt from the 19-yard line. Davis, right up the middle. A flag down. There appeared to be a clip behind him. This looks as if it is coming back. A Bearcat is down on the field, too, back at the 30-yard line. So hold everything. That 81-yard return may be erased by a clip. The injured Bearcat is a Nate Heiss on special teams coverage.
Well, this is one of the reasons that Dayne doesn't have as many yards this season so far as he could, because Davis is getting them all on return yardage. Punt returns, kickoff returns, as we look at Heiss in a lot of pain down there. But Davis is just an electrifying player. And last year, Barry Alvarez was looking for a returner. And just sort of as an afterthought, he asked Davis if he could catch punts. And Davis said, "Coach, I can catch a BB in the dark." So he put him back there, and he became an unbelievably pleasant surprise. Another big play guy to complement Ron Dayne.
Yeah, but it's all coming back, and Barry Alvarez can't believe it. That would have been, Davis frustrated.
Well, Davis
his second of the year, but the illegal block from behind will negate this, and it just goes in the growing list of mistakes by Wisconsin.
Block in the back. During the run back, 10-yard penalty, first down.
See if we can pick up where this occurred. Barry has dropped one of those crutches. He's down to one crutch.
I think he's bent it over one of his players' head. Whoever
Against
did that.
Wisconsin.
I'll tell you why Davis is mad
penalty.
right there, though, Paul, because obviously he's got team goals. But personally, he makes All-American as a returner when he gets a lot of yardage, a big average, and lots of touchdowns. And it's a huge thing to have an 81-yard return. Now, just take a look right here, and take a look if we can see what happens here to Heiss. He gets pushed from behind right there. And you know what? That wasn't even necessary. That still would have gone through. The guy that was pushed in the back was not a threat to tackle Davis, so it was unnecessary. Look at this.
A chippy call, a chippy flag, and the eye in the sky never lies, though. And unfortunately for Heiss, his day looks to be done.
Yeah, and he's not putting any weight at all. Usually, you'll put a little weight on that to test it because you're a tough guy, you're used to experiencing pain. When you don't even touch it on the ground, that's more than just a little bit of pain.
We'll get you an update on his condition as we roll along today. 4:21 to go in the first half. And a couple of injuries. The most significant on a national front is, of course, to a Ron Dayne on the sideline now and having ankle problems. Straight ahead. And not much for Eddie Faulkner. A wall up front on the part of Cincinnati. This is a team that surrendered close to 200 yards rushing a week ago to Troy State from Alabama. So what's going on here today?
What's going on here is they're getting more and more accustomed to the defense. Last week, they made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't that they were getting blocked so much as that they were in the right place. And Troy State was able to find those seams. They're getting more accustomed now to the new defense, the attacking style that Rick Smith has brought in, and you could see it today.
Tight end on either side, and now Sigmund moves. Kavanaugh floats it deep, looking for Davis, and he dropped it. Right between the twos over his shoulder. In his defense, though, there is a wicked sun coming from behind the football.
And Paul, this ball does not appear over his shoulder until the last second, so we could see it the whole time. But this thing's going to disappear, and right there, it's very difficult to see that. And Kavanaugh knows he threw a perfect pass that should have been a big play, and it's like, oh.
Now third down. And so Davis has had the punt return for a touchdown erased. Now this, uncharacteristic of the sophomore from Manchester, Minnesota. Wisconsin does not want to give Cincinnati one more shot in the first half. Here comes the Heat. Catch made, the tight end level though by Jeff Burrow. He cartwheels huge John Sigmund. Burrow with an interception earlier, and here he chops down a tree in Sigmund.
Well, huge John Sigmund goes 6'6", 272. Burrow goes 5'8", 178. He gives up 100 pounds, and listen to this hit. 100 pounds Burrows gives up to Sigmund, and he takes him down on the spot.
You like that, didn't you?
Oh, I love that. Little guys that throw it in there.
All right, Kevin Stemke, we told you, he led the Big Ten a year ago. Junior from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Kicking to Tinker Keck. And much like Nick Davis, Tinker Keck can pop one. This tumbles away from him. Makes a bounce back toward the center of the field. And now will roll dead at the 28-yard line. That is a 46-yard punt without a return. 2:42 away from intermission. Plenty of time for Cincinnati to
29-yard line.
this score. All righty, Trevor. You call on that one. The Trevor's keys today, 7-6 here and coming into this game, Trev.
Well, the keys here, first of all, focus on today. And it looks to me like Wisconsin is looking ahead towards Michigan because Cincinnati is taking it to them right now. The injury situation for Wisconsin, hopefully Ron Dayne will come out of this game healthy. Cincinnati, the biggest thing here, don't be afraid of those guys. Don't worry about them. They're just football players. Do what you can do. In explosion plays, that's plays more than 20 yards. Cincinnati only has one, but it went for their touchdown.
Deontey Kenner with Robert Cooper behind him, a four-receiver formation. And movement by Josh Gardner, the tackle on the right side. In his first career start, Josh Gardner.
False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
At just 19 years young, his very first starting assignment, number 67 for Cincinnati. You know there'd be some jitters today going up against a veteran defensive front.
Well, he's a freshman, and the guys he's going up against have been playing big games, Rose Bowls, for a long time.
1st and 15. Cooper with a hole. Upfield close to the first down at the 39-yard line. Wayne Johnston, Josh Gardner on that right side, Doug Rosfeld the center.
Well, they went right back to Gardner. He's going against Sprague, and he just takes him right out of his lane. Opens up a huge hole in there.
14 on the play. It'll be
Gain of
second down
14
and
in
one.
Wisconsin enjoying a solid day on the ground. 96 of those yards belong to Robert Cooper. And a first down. This is Cooper's career best performance so far.
Robert Cooper carries for
And one of his
Bearcat
teammates,
first
Nate
down.
Heiss, shake it up earlier on that punt return. Lewis Johnson, what's the latest?
Well, it's not good news for Nate Heiss. I talked to Bill Walker, who's the head trainer here at the University of Cincinnati, and he tells me that he has at least one sprained ligament in his knee, maybe two. They're going to make a further examination here at halftime. Right now, they're loading him up on the cart, going to take him out. Just talked to his parents, Jim and Kathy Heiss. Boy, are they scared, but the trainers came over and just gave him some assurance that he's going to be all right. Out for the game now.
Cooper across midfield down to the 47-yard line.
Now they're giving Johnson and Gardner on the right side a chance to open the holes. And look at the patience. You don't have to push guys around. Take a look over here and look at the offensive linemen. Just stick on their blocks. You don't have to push people anywhere. But it makes this hole right in here just because they stayed on the guys. And that seam opens up when you sustain.
He had a 161-yard game last year against Indiana. You're going to race a couple of those yards right now at midfield. Shoved back. Roger Knight and Russ Kalaji on that left side defensively shoved him back. There is Big Russ from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Plays both inside and outside. That's big number 78.
Well, they went back to the same play 3 times in a row. And you can get a top 10 team twice in a row on a power zone play, maybe. But the third time, they're going to be waiting there for you because at that point, it becomes a pride thing. You know, Paul, when you call plays, you try to mix things up. When you run the same play over and over, it's an attitude thing.
Speaking of attitude, and Cincinnati takes this timeout here, and Ron Dayne's helmet off. How about baseball? The pennant race coming your way. Baseball Thursday. The Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Thursday at 7 Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific on Fox Sports Net. Or you might see the Giants and the Dodgers, always special out west. Hey, look at the standings right now. 3.5 games and 3 in the loss column. And New York fell to Cleveland in the Jake today. And Boston, Oakland, and Toronto. Oakland hosting Kansas City. They are getting underway. And Toronto, the White Sox in town. Just 2 weeks to go in the season. Second down now. And Kenner operating out of the gun. 2 timeouts remaining for either team. Catch made. Down to the 43-yard line, Ladaris Van, the Floridian, a freshman. He got the last scholarship that Rick Minner had to offer this year. He was sitting at home in the summer, and they said, well, let's go on ahead and give it to this young guy. He has speed out of Florida.
Well, he's one of those guys in Florida that kind of fell through the cracks. I mean, he's got the ability to play big-time college football, but he just wasn't noticed down there, and they think he's the most athletic of their wide receivers along with number 1 Chapman.
Minute and 10 to go. Big play for Cincinnati now on third down. Must reach the 37. Pressure off the corner. Kenner rolls away from it. Kenner shy of the first down at the 40-yard line. Not only does he turn his way out of bounds away from contact, but he runs out of bounds to stop the clock. And now you have a decision to make on fourth down if you're Rick Minner. Wouldn't you go for it? Isn't this 4-down territory?
At this point, I think you go for it. They're playing conservative, but look at him pull it down. That's good decision and direction. You know, I really like the poise of Kenner.
Oh, the coaches, come on.
They wanted him to put his shoulder down and get that thing.
And Rick Minner, they're going to go for it here. Why not?
They've got an empty backfield. They're sending everybody out. Spread the whole field.
Needs a couple of yards. They throw, they hit. They've got the first down. Antonio Chapman, the junior, in front of Jamar Fletcher. And the Bearcats hold on to the football and keep Wisconsin's offense off the field.
Well, look how calm he is under pressure. He waits and throws the ball to the right guy. Jimbo Fisher, the offensive coordinator, puts pressure on his quarterbacks in practice so they can simulate the pressure of a game. And Kenner has responded to that with a cool decision-making performance today.
Moving close to field goal range as well. And flags, whistles.
Penalty flags on the
40 seconds remaining.
Paul, you know what's happening right now? Wisconsin is on its heels.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
May have been on the center
against the
in
Bearcats.
Doug Rosfeld.
Ball back to the 40-yard line.
Coming up on our Nissan Halftime Report just ahead. Across the country on Fox Sports Net, Kevin and Kellen with scores and highlights. A very busy day. Ohio State's having a tough time, with Ohio as well. Look at Penn State and Miami and the first half numbers here. For the end zone, going for Chapman. And a diving interception by Jamar Fletcher. What a play! The pass held up in the air, and Jamar Fletcher, a sensational pick with 17 seconds to go.
That was a Randy Moss-looking catch. He goes up and stabs that ball out of the air at full extension. Oh, you can hear that. You can hear that hit the ground. Got some unhappy coaches in the box. Look at the full extension right here. All the way up in the air. Boy, that's just a beautiful athletic play. And the Cincinnati coaches are absolutely livid. They're in the next booth next to us here, and the walls are shaking. Look at that.
Jimbo Fisher, their offensive coordinator, long time at Auburn.
He didn't want him to throw it there.
No, the emotions of game day.
There's going to be some pressure on the quarterback at halftime from the coach, I think.
Wisconsin content now just to get out of here at halftime and regroup. Nobody in America expected to see what you have witnessed today in the first 2 quarters here on Fox Sports Net. The 9th team in the country from the Big Ten. The Wisconsin Badgers on the short end of a surprising score. Robert Cooper's 51-yard touchdown jaunt and the extra point for Cincinnati, besting a couple of field goals by the Cincinnati Bearcats as we are at halftime.
And Paul, this is exactly the game plan that Rick Minner wanted to have happen. Don't make mistakes other than that last interception, which didn't really hurt him as much as it could have had it been a different game time situation. Get turnovers and mistakes from your opponent and keep it close. This is what Rick Minner wanted to have happen. The first half is all Cincinnati.
Well, let's see what he has to say about this. He's with Lewis.
Pizza delivery.
All right, guys, thanks. Coach, could you have ever imagined, even though it's only by 1 point, that you'd be leading Wisconsin at the half? What have been the keys?
Well, we haven't turned it over. We've run the ball, popped one. We said it was going to be tough sledding on the day, but hang in there and persevere. Maybe good things will happen. And sure enough, Coop popped one. The guys I'm proud of is our defense. They're the one that's kind of bent but didn't break and hung in there, made a great goal line stand. So, no, we expected to full well be in a ball game, and we're not upset that we're close, but we've squandered more opportunities to score than what we've got on the board.
All right, Coach, great job. See you in the second half. Thanks. And now let's head to the West Coast in our Nissan Halftime Report with Kellen Winslow and Kevin Frazier. Kevin, we've got a great game going here.
Fox Sports Net, College Football Saturday. Time for our second half as the chimes resound from the campus of the University of Cincinnati. Welcome back. I'm Paul Kennedy along with Trevor Maddich. And if you're Barry Alvarez, a time for 9th-ranked Wisconsin to wake up.
They better wake up because they've got a half to go, and they might not win this game. Cincinnati is hot. They're on fire, and Wisconsin is 30 minutes away from possibly losing their first game of the year.
Robert Cooper, number 33, stole the show, didn't he, in the first half?
He did. He got good yardage per carry, but this play, they break a long one for the only touchdown of the game.
51 yards there, and as Rick Bender was saying, and leaving at the end of the first half, his defense has been stellar against high-powered Wisconsin.
It has had and architected by Rick Smith, their new defensive coordinator, came in from Tulane. The concept here is attack the line of scrimmage, force mistakes, bend and give up some yardage, but don't break. And this goal line stand happens because of penetration into the backfield, and that's the hallmark of a Rick Smith defense.
Look at the numbers here. Very stingy except for the yards that they have surrendered to Dayne, and we'll get you an update on his condition shortly, out with an ankle problem. Most of the completions for Cincinnati have been of the short variety.
They've been very short, respecting the pass rush of Wisconsin. But look at this time of possession. 9 minutes for Cincinnati. They've only had first downs in 2 of their drives, but they have not made the big mistake on offense or on defense. And so time of possession is overshadowed by the mistake-free play of Cincinnati compared to the goof-ups that have cost Wisconsin scoring opportunities after long drives.
A pair of 33s on display here today. 103 yards. Ron needed 206 to catch Archie Griffin, establish a new Big Ten all-time rushing record, and Robert Cooper hunting for pride today. We're set for our second half kickoff. Vitaly Posetsky booms this. Jason Collins Baker elects to bring it out. He's to the 20-yard line and to the 24. He went down rather quickly. A drill down by Joey Borsay, who was a real headhunter on special teams. Let's check in once again. Here's Lewis Johnson.
All right, Paul, thanks a lot. You know, I talked to Barry Alvarez before the game, and he said they have a team slogan, and that slogan is beat the game. Not beat an opponent, but beat the game. But so far in the first half, that's not what happened. He said he's looking for execution, fundamentals, no mental errors. But so far, he says they have shot themselves in the foot. They're not making plays, foolish penalties. As far as Ron Dayne is concerned, the ankle is still not 100%. Ron Dayne will check himself in and out of the game as the ankle feels, Paul.
We'll follow that, and on first down, a straight-ahead give.
Robert Cooper on the carry.
Cooper, and into the arms of Eric Malik, number 98, at 261-pound nose tackle. Young junior, Deontey Kenner, his numbers today. He threw one pick late, a great break on the ball by Jamar Fletcher in the end zone.
And he's beat them with his feet. And it'll be second down and 6. First, don't make a big mistake.
Pick up a 4 by Cooper. Fletcher throws, pass is snared, and flags come out. Tony Schmeichel had his hands on it. Bobby Myers went over his back. Myers has been very active, leads both teams in tackles in this football game. He has 7 already, but now here apparently a personal foul, major infraction against him. Ron Bloom and his officiating crew in Cincinnati.
Well, Myers is going against the guy in Schmeichel, who's really more of a hybrid tight end / wide receiver than a pure wide receiver. Schmeichel goes about 228, and if you look at it,
On the defense, automatic first down.
Schmeichel is very reminiscent of Ivan Green of Louisville, who's led the nation in tight end reception. Now, take a look at the bottom of your right here, holding. And just before Schmeichel came out of that break, Myers grabbed him.
Pass interference, the third infraction today. against Wisconsin. Carry out to the 42-yard line.
Cooper, the ball carrier. Tackle made by John Favre.
And there's Deontey Kenner for you.
Well, 7 for 14, but he doesn't have a completion longer than 7 yards.
Gain of 1 on the play.
And that,
It'll be
in some ways, is an
2nd down and
acquiescence to the pass rush of Wisconsin. Just get the ball on short percentage passes, move the change, keep the clock rolling.
Ladera's Van out wide in the slot. Collins Baker, top of your picture. 4-man rush and inside. Robert Cooper. And quickly, it's 3rd down now and long for Cincinnati.
Well, this is a classic goof-up, Paul. I want you to take a look at 2 offensive guards who pull and go the wrong direction and run into each other right here.
Not good.
Yeah, no, this is a goof-up. Well, actually, the tackle coming in, boom! That is not what you want to have happen. That doesn't look good on the film.
The eye in the sky again. Tomorrow, looking at this film. Deontey Kenner now needs to cross the Wisconsin 49 to maintain possession. Throws, caught, 1st down, and stretching it, Tony Schmeichel. In front of Bobby Meyer. It's a 1st down for the junior and for the Bearcats.
Well, Schmeichel using that big body. He doesn't have the speed to beat you with the speed. But like Ivan Green, he's got the ability to find the hole in the zone, and that's all he does. He settles inside the zone, in the gap, and Kenner sees him right there and drills the ball. And so he's able to make that 1st down.
Bearcats a 1st down and the lead early in the 3rd quarter. Play action to Cooper. Throwing back over the middle. Schmeichel burns him for 15 more. Kenner playing with much more confidence at quarterback than we saw at the outset this afternoon.
And I like this play calling from Jimbo Fisher. Schmeichel has shown he's been able to shake loose, and so he keeps going back to him. Take a look as this boot, he fakes it, rolls right back around, and scans all the way across the field. And as he comes across, again he sees number 5 between the zone.
Kenner out of Cooper. And he is sandwiched, hit pretty hard by Sam Miller. The defensive end who wears number 9. And Rick Minner was saying when you put a guy in number 9 and he's a defensive lineman, that tells you one thing: he's fast. He wasn't recruited as a defensive lineman.
No, and they just got bigger. He just kept getting bigger. He goes 6'5", 251, and he's the kind of guy you'd probably start out as a strong safety in high school, then move into linebacker. He just kept growing, so you keep moving him down closer to the line of scrimmage.
Kenner has connected on 7 of his last 8 passes, the lone exception, the interception. Jason Collins-Baker to the 22. Slipping inside and keeping the Badgers off balance. Wendell Bryant and Chris Dorsey, the linebacker, on the tackle this time.
And Paul, note that they're attacking the middle of the field with these high percentage passes. In talking to Rick Minter yesterday, he said that a coaching point for his team is to stay in bounds, shorten this game, use the clock like Army would with their option offense to keep it close when you're playing against a team that's bigger and stronger than you.
The 9th play of this opening drive that began at the 24-yard line. Van in motion, Garden is the fullback. The lead blocker. Now the late kick. Cooper steps on his feet. Right through Jamar Fletcher. It's 1st and goal, Bearcats.
At the 7-yard line.
Well, Cooper's got 40 pounds on Fletcher. I want you to look at the double fake here and the patience of the quarterback. Now, this guy is right here. He makes the decision, and then it goes. And that patience is what allowed the play to stretch. Now, right there, you've got Cooper with a 40-pound advantage over Fletcher, and he runs right through him, just like Ron Dayne would do. The patience here of number 7, Kenner. Now watch him. He just waits, he waits, and now he does it. And that's the difference between Kenner last year and Kenner this year. Kenner last year was not as understanding of what they wanted him to do from an offensive standpoint. Now he knows not just what he's supposed to do, but why.
Sophomore Dwayne Johnston being helped off the field. This is close to a 130-yard rushing day for Cooper. Tomorrow, the National Football League heads your way. NFL this morning at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Chris Myers, Jackie Slater, Chris Spielman, Marv Levy. What a quartet. Previewing the day slate of NFL action, followed by Fox NFL Sunday on your local Fox affiliate with JB in the game.
Paul, I'll tell you what, Chris Spielman is one of those guys that's the true grit, football played like it's supposed to be played kind of guys. I played with him for a year for the Detroit Lions. He taught me how to eat Coney Island hot dogs, and I taught him how to play backgammon.
Robert Cooper. The difference so far, first and goal, Cincinnati. Donnell Thompson, the middle linebacker, met him in the hole. Along with John Favre, it's second down. There is Donnell Thompson, close to 300 tackles now in his outstanding Badger career. The Madison, Wisconsin native.
Well, everything's designed to funnel it into these linebackers. So Donnell Thompson, Chris Dorsey are the ones that should make most of the tackles. And Thompson benches over 400 pounds physically up to the task.
Second and goal. Taking off. Touchdown, Kenner. Plays right down the field, and Cincinnati's lead swells. Untouched was Deontey Kenner. The extra point. Drilled by Jonathan Ruffin. Hello, America, and Deontey Kenner. 10 plays, 76 yards, and he waltzes in for 6. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. The University of Cincinnati perhaps has never witnessed an upset of this magnitude. The young junior Deontey Kenner marching his team right down the field to build his 14-6 edge.
Kenner reads a defensive mistake. Kalaji comes inside, and nobody replaces him outside. So Kenner on the quarterback draw sees that there's no contain. And so as he goes out there, this is goal line, folks, and look at this. No red jersey in the entire wide-angle shot. That is a busted contain. Somebody's in trouble.
Jason Mammarelli with the ball cocked at the 35-yard line. That covered 3/4 of the field. And he knocks this about 5 yards into the end zone, and Nick Davis will bring it out. Look at that speed. All the way up to the 30 and tripped up there to the 31-yard line. Special teams coverage by Anthony Thomas. He can fly. However, as you see, a penalty marker is down. And it's an illegal block from behind again against Wisconsin.
Again, take a look at what happens now. Kalaji goes up inside, and Kenner reads that. Nobody is outside there. And again, all that is a busted coverage. But the thing I like about this is that on a quarterback draw, number 7, Deontey Kenner, does not just take off up the middle. He allows the defensive front to move before he makes his decision.
So Barry Alvarez, the sunglasses on, his trademark, the visor now in the sun field, and the crutches to his offensive staff upstairs. Deontey Kenner has been everything the Bearcats could have asked for today.
Well, we said that he has the chance to be the MVP on offense and on defense. That drive was as good for their defense as it was for their offense because of the clock it ate up.
Kavanaugh, a big story. He has Ron Dayne behind him to open the second half, and they give it to the great Dane in his own end zone, and he breaks out to the 10 and fights his way to the 15-yard line. And Dwayne Gossett rolls him out of bounds. The emotion from the usual, very placid Ron Dayne.
Dayne wants to win this game. They all do, but take a look at Dayne, the bull. Remember, try to tackle a bowling ball. How many guys get a hand on him right here? There's 1. There's 2. And then finally Gossett's able to drag him out of bounds. But look at Dayne's reaction. gets thrown to the ground, and he gets up and rages like a bull. I like that.
The 15-yard line now, and if you're just joining us, his left ankle hurting, playing in pain, and playing very focused football as the second half opens. Troy Evans, the outside linebacker, along with Dwayne Gossett. It took 2 Bearcats to bring him down. And off he goes.
Number 22, Dwayne Gossett.
Bit gingerly on that foot, too. And now 7th in the history of college football. He's climbed up that ladder. He was 11th when the day began.
23 more yards to be 6th.
Go to College Station, Texas, paying attention today. Fox Sports Southwest. They may need every yard of his today to avoid a major embarrassment. Kavanaugh airs it out down the middle of the field, and it's batted away in triple coverage intended for Davis. Incomplete. They are fortunate, are the Badgers. This was not intercepted. Ron Gossett along with Tinker Keck both there.
Well, Davis is going to come along from over on this side, and he is going to be in the middle of 3 guys. Now, there is no way in the world that this ball should ever be completed, and it's not. He takes a shot as he goes down.
3rd down now, and needing a yard, and it's Eddie Faulkner in the backfield on that motion merit. Faulkner earns the first down. Falling forward. Faulkner's been solid today. He's got a 40-yard gain going in relief of Dayne. So the offensive line has been able to get pushed consistently with Dayne and Faulkner running behind them.
Well, they have, Paul, and one of the reasons is that Mario Mons, their big run-stuffing defensive tackle, is on the sideline right now on his back, getting treatment done, it looks like to his knee, getting it rewrapped, and so his backup Wortman is in there trying to hold the fort.
And motion Lee Evans. Faulkner protects the football. And it has about 3 and away from the ball.
Eddie Faulkner on
Jason
the carry.
Raback pushing and shoving
number
still.
10, Bobby
8 yards downfield. Still Ransom on the stop this time. This is his first start, number 99 for Cincinnati. Young freshman from Indianapolis. What a way to break in.
Well, there are several guys on the Cincinnati team that haven't played it down for him. I mean, Burrow, number 8, who's already got an interception and a couple of big plays, is another guy on this defense, and until this year, hasn't played for him.
Straight up the middle. Busting through Chad Coons. The fullback across midfield. And the first down at the Bearcat 43-yard line. A gain of 22 on the first carry today for Coons.
Well, watch this open up. They run the option, and they're just going to hand it to Coons as he comes right up the middle. They've only got 2 down linemen inside. Everybody else is spread out. And so that leaves just a huge gap. And I don't know if Wisconsin just got lucky with that play call or knew that they were going to do that. But the spreading of the defensive line was to stop the outside play. When it comes up the middle, you've got the advantage.
Only the second carry this season for Chad Coons. But again, Wisconsin coming off its own goal line. This is the 3rd running back that we have seen today, Michael Bennett, on the carry now. Sophomore from Milwaukee, inside the 40. Bobby Fuller gave him a pretty good shot as he came across the 40-yard line.
Well, watch out for Michael Bennett. He is a flat-out sprinter. This guy has got speed that they say they like to use after Dayne has dented the defense. Bennett is one of the fastest guys on this field today. High school sprinting champion. Look for him to make some electrifying runs as he goes through his career.
All been on the ground so far. They continue to grind away at the Bearcats. Right at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere for Bennett. Eddie Johnson, the middle linebacker.
On the carry.
Well, here they're attacking the line of scrimmage, Paul. Take a look at everybody just coming in over here. We'll check it to the right side. Attacking, not allowing anything to happen, not allowing any play whatsoever to run it. And the situation they're in now at 3rd and 3, actually closer to 4, is just what Cincinnati wanted. They started inside their own 10, Wisconsin did, ground it down, but now they've got a 3rd down that's not necessarily easy to get.
Timeout taken on the field. Wisconsin burns it. 6:30 to go in the 3rd. Wisconsin trailing in the second half, facing third down against a defensive front that's injury battered, Lewis.
It is, Paul. It's been a real busy time for the Cincinnati trainers. Number 90, Mario Mons, just had his left knee retaped, and they also taped a brace on it. He's now pulling his pants up, getting them strapped up. Now look, hobbling over on the table, number 54, defensive tackle Dan Wertman. They've been looking at his left ankle. Real busy time for these guys.
And this is bad because the starter is Mons. Wertman is the backup. They already lost in practice to Marcus Billings. He's out. They lost Paul Stevens, another defensive lineman in practice. He's out for the game. And Greg Lee got stuck in the eye on Tuesday, another defensive lineman. Didn't tell anyone about it. Now his eye's all red and swollen, and he is questionable for the game. And this huge guy to be on the sideline is a blow to this defense.
And to Ron Dayne on an injured left ankle. They'll hit it inside of the fullback. He's going nowhere. Eddie Johnson, the linebacker, met him in the hole. It's fourth down for Wisconsin, and they just might go for it in this situation.
Look at the penetration of this Rick Smith defense. Look at him come in. There's nowhere for that back to cut. And 52 Johnson takes him and pushes him back. You think that won't be on the highlight film? And he's a happy guy. Came out of nowhere to be not just a starter this year, but also a team captain, and came out of nowhere right there to stuff Coons on that third down.
They lost a yard. 4th and 4. Wisconsin goes for it. Play action, Kavanaugh. Under pressure. He throws. Open is Davis, who ran clear across the field and got free of Bobby Fuller. Came clear across the field to the near side. A clutch play. Kavanaugh to Davis. Nets him 18.
Paul, the Cincinnati defensive coaches won this play, but the Wisconsin offensive players won this play. Number 97, Keating, is in position right there. Just get your feet under you and make the play, but instead he gets juked by Kavanaugh, and that's the difference.
The first completed pass for Kavanaugh in the second half as he finds Davis. His third reception.
Paul, that was huge right there, huge.
Dayne. Pushing the pile. Dayne for the end zone. Ron Dayne. Converting on fourth down, and Dayne for 18 more, and the touchdown.
He's thick. He breaks a couple of arm tackles here. I think he's got a few of them still attached. Look at his leg drive, and look how thick he is from the waist down. And look what happens here. He makes a cut. There's an arm tackle. Forget about that. Now he's pushing the pile. Forget about that. And he's got enough burst to get around the corner. I don't think he cares if that ankle hurts right now. Nothing was going to deny him that end zone.
That's leadership, isn't it? A tremendous showing. Ron Dayne had the first carry of this drive from his own end zone. He caps it with the 18-yard run, and now the Badgers look to tie the game. And the play is whistled down. And Cincinnati elects to use a timeout right here. The defense over to talk to their head coach in the third. Rick Mentor having brought his defense over to strategize for the two-point try that Wisconsin is about to attempt. And Merriam thought it would be much easier than it has been today. Picture of discomfort in a lot of ways. Ron Dayne. Out in the backfield, Wisconsin looking to tie us at 14 apiece. Merritt in motion. Kavanaugh throws back, a flag down, broken up by Tinker Keck. The flag thrown in the line of scrimmage by the umpires.
Scott Kavanaugh's pass intended for Dak Retzlaff is incomplete.
And apparently it's against Casey Robach, the offensive center, for a holding. And Wisconsin, which means the play will stand and the two-point try will have failed.
Holding on the offense. Penalty decline. Points no good.
Another major infraction against Wisconsin at a critical time today.
Well, what that was, Paul, was frustration. Robach was just trying to abuse the third-string defensive tackle, Dante Elliott, and that's frustration on his part.
No points for the takedown. Bearcat defense, if anything, they forced Wisconsin to drive the long way and consume 11 plays. As you see, Ron Dayne played a major role in this. He capped it, and he started the drive out of his own end zone. You might be looking at the best coach in the history of Wisconsin football right there.
Vitaly Psetsky,
Barry Alvarez.
Deep for the Bearcats, Jason Collins Baker.
Won the Rose Bowl twice in this decade of the 90s. Hoping this year for an all-out Big Ten crown. Jason Collins Baker out of his own end zone is belted down and level. What a crushing hit he took from Nick Bryson. Wow.
Jason Collins Baker takes
Nick
the kick
Bryson
in the end
nailed
zone.
it.
Well, this is what led to that touchdown. 4th down, pass completion to Davis. Should have been a sack, could have been a sack, but that led to the big run on the next play, and no one was going to deny Dayne on this one.
So the Badgers an opportunity. It's the first time in a while, Trevor. Momentum is kind of worn red in the stadium a little bit. And Deontey Kenner lines up under center, under orders to probably kill as much clock as possible now. And hold on to the football. And he's going to throw it. And he throws it complete to Schmeichel, who had running room and slipped out. Did pick up the first. Let's get out to Los Angeles. And here's Kevin.
Ball is marked on the 28-yard line. It's a Bearcat first down.
Paul Bryant used to say that. What was his favorite play in football, Kevin and Trevor? It's when one of my running backs hands the ball to an official. Favorite play, Coach Bryant. Cooper lowers his head and able to get outside the 30-yard line.
Robert Cooper on the carry. Tackle by number 19, Roger Knight.
In the top 20. Penn State, of course, in Miami today.
Pickup of
Michigan, the next foe. And on the road, playing in the
seven.
Carrier Dome tonight against the Big Orange. Wisconsin here, Ohio State stumbling about against Ohio, and Purdue playing in a big way. P.J. Mays replacing Cooper. P.J. Mays out of the backfield. Works his way out to the 35, 36-yard line. Down on the field, Robert Cooper may have cramped up. He has been so busy, he's being stretched out there. Today he's already carried the ball 17 times for 134 yards.
P.J. Mays, a capable replacement for him. He actually leads the team this year so far in rushing yardage, and so he's not a guy that you have a big drop-off with. P.J. Mays could run that football, just a redshirt freshman.
With 3:25 to go, P.J. and the Bearcats are going to use their second timeout here in the third quarter. Some uncertainty on offense. Next week, Oklahoma travels to the Ville. Two great quarterbacks on display for the Sooners and for the Cardinals. Missouri hosting the Cornhuskers, who had their hands full with the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss today, and the Trojans in Oregon in Pac-10 style out west. It all starts at 3:30 from Papa John Stadium. Real shadows of Churchill Downs. The sights and sounds of Cincinnati today on a glorious autumn afternoon with Trevor Matich and Lewis Johnson out on the sidelines. I'm Paul Kennedy. Wisconsin's offense, points per game this season. They laid 49 on Murray State to win on opening day and 50 last week on Ball State. Louisville and Oklahoma next week. Mike Leach is the new offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. He had worked with Tim Couch in Kentucky last year. They're playing wide open now. There's no more option attack in Norman. Cooper back to his feet. This is a critically important play here for the Bearcats. If their upset hopes are to continue, they need 3 yards in the worst way. Kenner skips it up, incomplete, intended for Ashley Hunt, the tight end. Donnell Thompson, the linebacker. Really didn't have a shot at that pass, did he?
No, I think Kenner threw that away. Hunt was double covered. I think they were going to him the whole time because they haven't really included the tight ends in the offense so far today. And since he was covered, rather than risk a pick or a fumble with a sack, he got rid of the ball, punted away, give the defense a chance.
His first incompletion after 4 connections in a row. We saw Nick Davis bring one back 81 yards. It was erased by a personal foul call earlier in this game. What happens this time? Adam Wolford looks to kick away from it. And the ball will be down upfield at the 27-yard line. The pennant races. In full run right now.
Punt is down by Isaac Thomas.
Fenway Park for the Jays and the Sox. That is Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern. Or out west from the Ravine, Dusty Baker's Giants and the Dodgers on Fox Sports Net, Baseball Thursday. In terms of the American League and the East, New York fell today. It's a 3-game difference in the loss column for Boston. And Boston's winning big at the moment. Oakland and Toronto. You see their situation now. On first down. The quarterback, the name's Cannonball. And this is Dayne taking over the football game. Ron Dayne, the Great Dane, to the 29-yard line.
Ron Dayne.
A penalty marker has been thrown as well, but not before Dayne rumbles 44 yards. Holding the call, though, against Wisconsin. Wow. And Barry about threw those crutches.
Wow.
44 yards. This is a Conference USA officiating team to a man that is working this game today.
Holding against the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
There was a twist inside, and when that happens and the defensive line is on the move, a lot of times you'll see offensive linemen grab them in the middle to try to stop. The problem is they twisted Kirk Thompson, number 94, right out of the spot where Dayne ran.
Now, how many huge plays have been erased? Look at Casey Robach there. You're computing penalty yardage, 81 on the punt return for a touchdown, 44 there by Ron Dayne. That is what Alvarez is complaining about.
From a player's standpoint, you never think that a holding call is a good call when it's against you. But when you look at it on film, most of the time, you did something that would justify the call. I've had that happen so many times over the years as college and pro player.
First down and 8, and took the flags in the basic spot in penalty period. So Faulkner will work the right side. Kirk Thompson, the defensive tackle, just a sophomore on the stop. We reiterate, the Cincinnati Bearcat defensive front offers one junior in Mons, who's been in and out today, a sophomore in Thompson, been painting as a sophomore, and a freshman in Ransom. You can't get much younger.
Yep, and right here, number 85, Dante Elliott, is a promising youngster. He's just a sophomore, but he's the third string guy to go in at that spot with the injuries to Mons and Wortman.
These are Bear pups, Bear kittens. With Lee Evans in motion. Fighting close to the first down marker. Well, it's going to be close. Will they spot the ball? For Wisconsin, and that clock continues to run with less than 2 minutes remaining here in the third quarter.
Eddie Faulkner, the ball carrier, tackle on the play.
Everybody up on the line of scrimmage. Kuhn with a nice block there. But Johnson, number 52, once again, not just content to make the tackle, but wraps him up and pulls him back. This is a critical third down, and maybe a 4-down situation right now if Alvarez is as frustrated as I think he is.
That makes Ron, with this distinction, only the 7th man in the history of college football to surpass 5,000 yards. Congratulations. Needing a yard for fullback. Up one earlier. They'll pick up the first down here, too. Pretty good hit on him by Gary Ruff, though, up from the secondary. Get Chad Coons at 230 going forward. That's a fullback that can control the line of scrimmage. Gets you a couple of tough yards.
He's a Daryl Johnston kind of guy and does for Ron Dayne what Daryl Johnston has done over the years for Emmitt Smith with the Dallas Cowboys. A guy that takes his pride not in his own numbers, but in his man's numbers, the man behind him carrying the ball, and he is a devastating knock you on the seat of your pants blocker.
The Badgers wanted to send Michael Bennett in to replace Eddie Faulkner, couldn't get him on the field. Davis in motion on first down. They will give the call to Faulkner, and Faulkner is wrapped up. Kurt Thompson there. Tried to substitute for him. He wasn't quick enough with Bennett.
No, Faulkner just didn't hit the hole here. He had a hole, but the defense strung out the offensive line, and the pursuit got there before he cut it back up.
You see, he had 10 carries, did Faulkner, in 2 games before today. He's been forced to go 14 snaps carrying the ball with Ron Dayne less than completely healthy. Take a look at the third quarter clock. We're set to go to the fourth. Play change, Lee Evans now. Still moving. Wide to the near side. Final play of the quarter. Downfield and incomplete, intended for Davis, who wanted a flag. Oh, the third quarter is history. Kavanaugh and Wisconsin continue to trail at Nippert Stadium.
3 of them have kicked me out back here now.
Fox Sports Net, College Football Saturday from the banks of the Ohio River in downtown Cincinnati. A lovely day throughout the Midwest. And Rick Menner goes to the fourth quarter leading heavily favored at nationally ranked Wisconsin, although Lewis, as you can see, Robert Cooper is struggling.
Maybe going out for an IV for those cramps. You know who's tired, though, right now is the defensive line. The sophomore starter, Ben Beaton, came out, replaced by freshman number 93, Derek Adams, and there's just no bodies left on the defensive line.
Third down now. Play action. Kavanaugh scrambling. On the run, throws, caught at the 42-yard line. But he was across the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. Another costly penalty against Wisconsin.
Well, I think he was just shocked that there was nobody in front of him when he got around that corner.
An illegal forward pass. It's fourth down.
Take a look at this open up now. It's play action. He's going to roll out. He ducks up underneath, and now there's no defender in front of him. I think he's just sort of shocked. Now the line of scrimmage is right about there.
Illegal forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage. Against the offense, 5-yard penalty,
and now he's too far over.
And the punting unit must come on.
And Paul, you talked about critical mistakes. That was a first down play. Instead, it's a punt. Wisconsin again shoots himself in the foot.
Well, they still have plenty of time in this game, as Badger fans will be quick to point out. And here's Adam Wolford. But that erased a 16-yard first down completion. Tinker Cut, who has popped 4 in his career for scores, tying an NCAA record. Should have a return this time. Center is back. First man misses. He squirts up to the 24-yard line. A 46-yard punt and a 7-yard return by the senior from Oklahoma. Time of possession has been dominated by our friends from Madison, yet those penalties include 3 that were devastating. An 81-yard punt return for a score erased, and a 44-yard Ron Dayne ramble, along with a 16-yard pass completion for a first. All gone now, Lewis.
I'm going to tell you, I'm getting tired of watching these trainers down here. They have really been busy. Robert Cooper left the field, as you mentioned earlier. He is going to get a saline drip, suffering from some cramps here in all the pressure and heat of this game. And then number 54, Dan Workman, just coming back on the field, has a left ankle sprain. Doctors cleared him to play, but it's up to him if he can play with the pain.
The center Rosfield points out the defensive front. They'll hand the ball to P.J. Mays, and he's going nowhere. P.J. Mays' first career start for the freshman came last week with Cooper out. Now in the fourth quarter, the Bearcat down in Kurt Doolan. That play rolled up on the back of his legs, and he is shaken up.
And Doolan's having a fabulous game. against John Favre, who's really a tremendous pass rusher and a disruptive force on Wisconsin's defensive front. And Doolan has just been winning that battle over there at 6'4", 308. And if he can't go in there, boy, it'll be just another terrible blow. Look at the left tackle, right, working on 96, right there. And look at the people roll over his ankle. Ah! Oh, man. Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Doolan being attended to. A pause in the action in the fourth quarter. Well, that's Mike Love, junior offensive tackle, who comes on to take the place of Kurt Doolan, able to walk off under his own power. That's good news. But Mike Love now in, and a late substitution here. 3 men in, a new offensive package, and the defense matches. And that running back, P.J. Mays, a freshman, now has to assume the load of Robert Cooper. Cooper taking an IV with cramps. Kenner to throw. Floats it in the flat. That's caught by Nathan Wise. And Wise has about 3 yards. So Wise, a sophomore, and Mays, a freshman. 2 underclassmen. Doring and Thompson on the stop.
Wise is a great third down back. This guy is shifty, great out of the backfield, and he's not the guy that you want to carry the load for. He's only 5'6", 196, but he's shifty, and he's able to make plays catching the ball out of the backfield.
That was his first reception of the season, so a new wrinkle from the offensive package. And it sets up 3rd down and 6. A 5-receiver set. Throwing this way. Caught. And second effort by Ladaris Van. An 18-year-old freshman earns the first down.
Tackle on the play by Mike Eccles.
Well, the kids are ruling at the moment for Cincinnati. Underclassmen, freshman and sophomore, and a junior quarterback in Kenner, leading 9th-ranked Wisconsin.
Look down here at the bottom of your screen. He's just going to come up and go back. You've got all one-on-one coverage. Or actually, this is the play before. And this is the play from Wise, which set up this, which allowed you, instead of have 3rd and 10, you only had 3rd and 6, and that's why they were able to throw that short play.
P.J. Mays now sets on the right side. They'll hand it to him inside. He breaks out to the 45-yard line. Roger Knight recognized at the linebacker, lunged at his legs, or Mays may have rambled a while.
Mays is shifty. That's what he brings to it. He's going to come in and try to run over here. Nothing's there. He just reads it and goes back. Again, this is just good patience. And as he goes up, he sees the hole and turns it up the field. And Paul, the clock still runs.
2nd down after the gain of 8. Close to the first down for P.J. Mays.
P.J. Mays on the carry.
And that's very near the first down marker. Mays, who looks over at the sideline. Robert Cooper has returned from the dressing room. He is on the Bearcat sideline, and you see Kurt Doolan, the All-Conference USA freshman a year ago. A sophomore back on. Apparently he's all right. They need a yard on 3rd down.
Empty backfield except for one back.
P.J. Mays. 7 in the box for Wisconsin. Quarterback sneak earns the first down. Oh, an upset brewing here as we take you to Los Angeles and Kevin. All right, Kelly, and you know what Sammy's done in each of the last 2 games? Without a home run, he has had the game-winning RBI for the Cubs, who are factoring now late. They just came through Cincinnati here. He did that Thursday and then again yesterday for Chicago. Congratulations to Sosa. Play action. Kenner in trouble. Manages to unload it. No flag coming. The heat from Jake Sprague. And Jason Collins-Baker was reasonably close to where that ball died.
This is a coaching thing. This is where they told him, look, don't let the quarterback bootleg out. If you're the defensive end and you see action away, come right up the field. And that's what Sprague does. He sees action away. He doesn't chase the action. He goes up to cut off the bootleg.
2nd down and 10. The 8th play of this Bearcat possession. keeping Ron Dayne on the sideline. That is Robert Cooper. They shovel it to him. And Cooper is taken down at the line of scrimmage by Roger Knight, the linebacker.
Robert Cooper on the carry.
A nice play by Knight.
Well, for all the great linebackers that Wisconsin has, Knight is the best athlete, and he needs to be. Cooper comes out in the open field, and right now there's a lot of space there. And Knight, with that athletic ability, is able to make the play in all that space.
And Knight, a couple of fine plays here in this drive, and it's 3rd and very long. Cincinnati elects to play it out of the gun. It's the 4-man defensive front. Wisconsin comes blitzing off the corner. Kenner throws on the run and threw it poorly, incomplete and behind an open Jason Collins-Baker on the far side of the field.
Deontey Kenner.
That was another wobbly pass. Kenner's thrown a lot of them, a lot of wounded ducks with that ball in a slow wobble rotation. A lot of them have been caught, but that one just, he wasn't able to get that kind of trajectory he needed unless he had a tight spiral, and that thing just died at the end.
Time for special teams, and Adam Wolflick. And he'll be kicking, best in the nation. Returning kicks, and Nick Davis. Davis at center stage. Wisconsin comes. A high punt. Fair catch called for us. Wisconsin played for the block, and Davis squeezes it at the 19-yard line. 81 yards away from a potential go-ahead score for Wisconsin. On the road, in trouble. All right, Kevin, Cincinnati trying to hit a home run here, an upset of monumental proportions on a day in which Ron Dayne is challenging Archie Griffin's Big Ten career rushing record. Ron Dayne out across the 20 to the 22, now with 158 yards. He needs less than 50 to pass number 45 in Buckeye history. And you see here, in terms of career marks, second down. Dayne to the 40. Gossett hauls him down shy of midfield. 26 more for Ron Dayne.
Well, number 90 Mons is not on the field. He's going to start to his right, cut back to his left. And now look up Gossett. Now it's man for man. And look at this challenge right here. It's just me and you, buddy. And Gossett wins that day. Slams him to the ground. The next linebacker, number 22, Gossett. But look at that. He makes it personal, Dayne does. He was staring down his tackler as they were running down the field.
We'll remind you, he has a problem with his left ankle. We'd like to thank our friends at WGN for sharing Sammy's historical moment with us. And timeout taken by Wisconsin, trying to avoid a historical moment of note, of dubious note here in the fourth. Two major stories here today. Cincinnati trying to upset Wisconsin, and of course, Archie Griffin's record in jeopardy. Called by Woody Hayes, the greatest running back he ever coached, and a man with the greatest set of bookends in the history of the college game. Not one, but two Heisman trophies. And now this Buckeye immortal, only 23 yards separate Ron Dayne from owning Archie's mark.
And that mark has stood for nearly a quarter century. Might fall today, might fall this play.
Play action. Kavanaugh rolls and throws incomplete behind Davis, who had gotten between Gossett and Keck. And Dayne not on the field.
It'll be second down and 10.
Do you see that in more than a century of Big Ten play, Red Grain, Elroy, Crazy Legs Hirsch, some of the immortal names, including bowl outings, of course, many in the Rose Bowl. This is an elite class of football players. And Ron Dayne is about to go to the head of that list. Merritt's on the move. Second man through. Bit of running room for a spinning Michael Bennett. Taken down by Gossett. Gossett covers, and Gossett comes up quickly to play in the interior.
That's the big part of the leadership of this team. They don't have much because everybody's so young. You've got Johnson that is, last year wasn't really playing much for him. He took it on himself in the offseason to get himself ready to play and did so well. He's now a captain on this team. They're just, the leadership of this defense and offense will be coming from people that nobody really knows who they're going to be.
Ron Dayne, the running back. Dayne, with a flag thrown in, is close to the first down marker.
Ron Dayne, the ball carrier.
And it looks to be holding against Wisconsin. The Badger offensive lineman, yes, saying, what have we done?
But Paul, why so much holding here? The defensive scheme is a part of it. When you've got defensive linemen that move and stunt and twist on the running game, offensive linemen, a lot of times when they're bigger and not as agile, will reach out.
10-yard penalty, third down.
And the contact comes on the side of a player rather than between the shoulders where it has to be?
That's right, because an offensive lineman feels comfortable when he has made it up with the guy and driving him. And when he's running sideways, if you're not in contact with him as an offensive lineman, you feel like there's something wrong with you, and you want to reach out and make contact. Well, when you reach out, sometimes you grab. And so really it's the scheme that Rich Smith is in that is causing a lot of these holding penalties.
The sixth major penalty. 6 out of 7 today have been of 10 yards or longer against Wisconsin. That really changes things now. 3rd and 13. The blitz comes. Kavanaugh against it, throws, and it's broken up by Tinker Keck. Intended for Nick Davis. 4th down, and the punting unit comes on for Wisconsin.
Tinker Keck pretty quiet so far today, but what an awesome play. He read the route, and he read the ball. And when the receiver tried to continue on his crossing route, Tinker slowed down to make his play on the ball. Brilliant veteran move from the only fifth-year senior on that defense.
The junior from Green Bay and Stemke. Not the worst of field position to attempt to fake. A high snap. He pulled it down, though, and gets a beautiful putt away. Keck from his 9 loses the ball. Wisconsin grabs it. Wisconsin scores. A touchdown.
Well, it's a muff, not a fumble, because he never had possession.
Ryan marks. It'll be brought back and marked at the 15-yard line.
Bearcat player.
A muff rather than a fumble.
The rule on that is that on a kick like that, a punt, if the returner has possession, then fumbles it, the coverage team can advance it. But there, Tinker never had possession of it. Therefore, it's a muff. Wisconsin can recover it, but they cannot advance it for a touchdown. It is still a huge play. But look at this. No possession, boom, it just bounces off it. See, you mentioned earlier, Paul, that Tinker Keck doesn't like to call fair catch. And that time he was taking a look down the field at his coverage before he brought that in. Now take a look at the punter go up and catch this football. Well, Tinker made a mistake there, and he knows it. That is the one critical mistake that Cincinnati has made today, Paul. Look at what they've done all game. They have not made a critical mistake all game long until right now. And now that defense, if they were ever in a bind with their back against the wall, this is it with 8 minutes to go.
A great opportunity for Dayne and Wisconsin here. At the 15, Dayne down to the 10-yard line. 2nd down. Now 17 yards shy of becoming the Big Ten's career rushing leader.
And Paul, Dayne in this offense, now is the time for them to take control. In the 4th quarter is when a defense will wear down in front of a big, powerful running attack. And having stopped Wisconsin, forced them to punt, the defense is back on the field.
Loaded up with tight ends on either side. Nothing fancy. Dayne closes the ball on the inside. The Bearcats have it. Dayne fluffed it up. The second turnover committed by Wisconsin today. And of all men, it is Dayne that laid it on the ground.
Well, Paul, when you get most of your yards after first contact, that means a lot of people are draped all over you, and you're still running. A lot of people come in, and he's fighting. And here comes
Bobby Fuller.
And he's the hero there. But that happened because Dayne was driving, dragging defenders into the end zone with him, and boom, the last guy is able to strip that ball out.
Tinker Keck was a part of that tackle. Fuller got a hand on it. Burrow recovered in the end zone. It's spotted at the 20-yard line. And Cincinnati now with 7:27 remaining in the game. Throws the ball, and it's nearly picked off. Jamar Fletcher in coverage. It would be difficult to defend the merits of that call.
Well, Fletcher, that's what he does well. That's why he led the NCAA in interceptions last year.
Yeah, you're throwing at him, an All-American. Why would you put him in that position?
Well, they've had success throwing against him there all game because he has given enough cushion to allow that short pass and then give the receiver a chance to run. This time, however, he said, okay, no more cushion, and he's playing a tight press.
Fletcher owns one interception today. Cooper, a career day for him. Tripped up in the backfield and now buried by Chris Cadorsi.
Robert Cooper.
And it's quickly third down.
Tackle by number 16.
And it's John Favre that made that play happen with this penetration. John Favre, only 238 pounds, as opposed to his running back on the other side of the ball that's about 250. Favre penetrated to blow up that play before it had a chance to get started. Boy, he's tired. This is a man that's carried the ball, carried the load, and carried half of the Cincinnati defense on his back today.
It's the first time
they're behind.
First time this season he has played too, Trevor, in the fourth quarter. They have needed him. On the draw, Cooper gets a block, been able to work it out about 2 yards shy of the first down. Now, do you make the ultimate gutsy call and go for it, needing about 2 yards, or do you punt it out of there?
No.
And Rick will punt.
Look at the twist here. When you run that twist, those two guys are out of their rush lanes, and this is almost a first down because of that. Paul, to answer your question, you punt this thing as far as you can go. Your defense has been able to keep Wisconsin's offense in front of them, and they have self-destructed rather than make long drives.
Nick Davis, the game, perhaps literally and figuratively, in his hand. Ruffin. The best in the country at returning kicks. Loses the ball! The Bearcats in front of it! LeVar Glover blasted it. First Ron Dayne fumbles in what's to be his coronation, and then against the Sun, the leading punt returner in America does this.
Well, just look right at the Sun. Look at the shadows, and then number 4 Glover just drills it. You can look at the shadows and look at the direction the shadows are. That means the sun is right in his eyes as he's looking up at that ball. And what a momentum builder. That's the freshman, Derek Adams, 93, who's trying to hold the line in there with all the injuries on the D-line. And when you hang in long enough, good things can happen to you. That's been Minter's mantra today.
Less than 6 minutes to go. Kenner. Keep it on the ground, get the clock to run. Wisconsin has 1 timeout remaining. Our busy day on college football Saturday continues. Rick Neuheisel's home field debut on the shores of Puget Sound. Washington at home to take on the top rushing team in America. Air Force and Fisher to Berry. And later tonight, Arizona hosting Stanford. All just ahead. Second down here. Kenner wants to throw deep for Jason Collins Baker, and it's incomplete. Excellent coverage by Jamar Fletcher. You aren't going to get very far, I would believe, throwing against Jamar Fletcher.
you're not going to get very far running the ball against that. Now, it's just tight coverage. As a matter of fact, that's not just tight coverage. You hear the expression, my leg is in your pants. Fletcher's leg was in Colin Baker's pants that time.
It's 3rd and 10. This is within the field goal range of the freshman Jonathan Ruffin. He's on the practice field. A 4-receiver set. Running away from the heat and throwing incomplete, much too high for a well-covered Jason Collins Baker. This time draped by the other corner and Mike Eccles. And it's 4th down. And here will come Jonathan Ruffin on and the age of 18 from Metairie, Louisiana. A man who wears a ballet slipper on his right foot. Look at this. Will attempt, yes, to kick the ball through from 42. Ballet slipper and all. It's good. Just a freshman, and the biggest field goal Cincinnati has had perhaps in 100 years.
.501 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Barry Alvarez, reigning Rose Bowl champions, trail in the 4th quarter. Mammarelli's kickoff down in the end zone. Jonathan Ruffin, an 18-year-old freshman from Metairie, Louisiana, kicks a 32-yard field goal with a ballet slipper, Lewis.
Hey guys, this is the shoe that Ruffin was using. This is actually an example. It's actually a ballerina shoe, a ballet shoe like we talked about. He uses it because it's light. He actually glues this sole on the bottom. He says he takes a lot of heat about it every now and then, but when he makes kicks like he just did a few moments ago, that quiets everybody down.
There you go. Pirouette on your toes, or kick perhaps game-winning field goal. Ron Dayne, very patient to pick his way out to the 26-yard line.
Well, 5 minutes, 4:40 now, is long enough for them to run the ball and run their offense down the field, especially since the defense is tired and Dayne has been bringing out good big runs. But this is it. This is the drive for Wisconsin.
And that there was Ron Dayne's Big Ten rushing record. To build upon it, Dayne past Griffin, and everyone who has ever played and carried the football in the Big Ten out to the 39-yard line.
Made by number 10, Bobby Fuller.
Paul, as you look at records and what it means for Ron Dayne's Heisman, last year they had to give the Heisman to Ricky Williams because he set the all-time career rushing record. If Ron Dayne does it again this year, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. I don't see any way to deny him the Heisman. If he doesn't set the record, then all bets are off and anything could happen.
And right now, Dayne, really oblivious to the record, simply wants to win a football game that Wisconsin was heavily favored to dominate. They throw in the flat and the tight end makes the grab up to the 45-yard line, and John Sigmund.
Pass is complete.
The key there, Paul, is that they got Sigmund down before he was able to get out of bounds. He did not get a first down, and so the clock still runs. They must get a touchdown, not a field goal, with 3 minutes, 30 seconds to go.
And they have but one timeout, we'll remind you. And Vitaly Posetsky has the range. He has kicked one of 53 earlier, but they need 6. Faulkner, tough running, 3rd down, in 4-down territory. The game is on the line right now for the Badgers from Madison, Wisconsin.
And Paul, what's going through your mind right now? Wisconsin knows they are better athletes than the guys across the field. Man for man, top to bottom of the roster. Barry Alvarez knows that. The Cincinnati Bearcats know that. And now, when there's only 2 minutes, 48 seconds to go in this game, what's going through this Bearcats' mind is belief. Guys, we can do this. Wisconsin, those guys are starting to get their heart in their throat.
Coons and Faulkner behind Kavanaugh. On the draw, a 1st down. Eddie Faulkner across midfield. to the 48-yard line, and Kirk Thompson, along with Gary Ruff, on the tackle. You would have to go all the way back to 1983, 16 years ago, to find an upset close to this magnitude. Watson Brown was then the head coach of Cincinnati, now at UAB, and he took the Bearcats to the base of Mount Nittany, and they beat Joe Paterno and Penn State in 1983. But it's been better than a decade and a half since anything close to this has unfolded. Dayne. Hobbled. And he fights to the 45. The clock rolls less than 2 minutes. The greatest running back in the history of the Big Ten, statistically speaking. Ron Dayne.
Gain of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Now he wants that end zone. That's what's in his mind. And the clock runs. The clock runs. 1:38 to go.
Dayne the setback. The end around to Davis with running room. Davis to the 35-yard line and down to the 34. Antonio Davis on Nick Davis, the stop for Cincinnati.
Well, they know that the Bearcat defense is geared in to stop Ron Dayne, and so they want to get their other electrifying player, Davis. Now, this guy's the punt returner. In the open field, he is extremely hard to catch, and so this is a great call to get this guy the ball. And this is a great tackle. Look at number 42, Davis, to come on in there, and 10 Fuller that goes in there and drags him down, still in bounds. The clock runs after the chains move.
See the time remaining in our box. In motion, Merritt. This is Faulkner. To the 26-yard line. He gained 9. Only 1 timeout remaining. Wisconsin will burn its final timeout here. Dayne, yes, a record-setting day. His fumble, though, costly. 1 18-yard touchdown run. Robert Cooper on the other side of the field, 143 yards. 108 in the first half.
And these turnovers have been absolutely key. This is a muff by Cincinnati. But then on what should have been a touchdown, off of that muff, becomes a fumble and a turnover, no points. The next punt that comes through, another muff, the sun in the eyes with the returner Davis. And now Cincinnati gets the field goal. Because of that field goal, now Wisconsin must get a touchdown, not a field goal, to win this game.
And how un-Big Ten-like is it to have it kicked by a man wearing a ballerina slipper? That just might be the ultimate insult today. That just caps the whole day for Alvarez and the entire crew from Madison.
Paul, was that prayer right there? I think that was a little supplication to a higher power that they could hang on for another 50 seconds.
Well, they face Jimbo Fisher, offensive coordinator. The defense's time now. Barry Alvarez trying to inspire Dayne in the offense. Barry Alvarez and the Wisconsin Badgers on the throes of a major upset. They have done the little things right throughout the most part, but not today. Wants to throw down the middle. Wait for Davis. It's 3rd down. And now Wisconsin, with 45 seconds remaining, must think 1st down and back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, the passing game has betrayed the Badgers today, Paul. They have run the ball successfully, but they have not thrown the ball successfully. The bend-not-break defense of the Cincinnati Bearcats has not been forced to move their attention away from 33 Ron Dayne. And now it's 3rd down with 45 seconds to go.
I know who I'd give it to. And he takes it. And Ron Dayne fights inside the 20 to the 17. That's a 1st down, and Wisconsin must hustle back to the line of scrimmage and get set. As soon as the chains are set and the ball is down, the clock begins to roll. Wisconsin has used all of its timeouts, and Kavanaugh stops the clock. 37 seconds away. Kavanaugh and Wisconsin, the reigning Rose Bowl champions, a prohibitive favorite here today against a Cincinnati team that lost to 1AA Troy State a week ago. But on any given Saturday in a college game, this is why you play.
Let's go, Dean! Hold him right there!
Man-to-man coverage, Paul.
Kavanaugh, the blitz, able to elude it. Now scrambling to the far side. Sliding down at the 14. And the clock rolls. He must get back to the line of scrimmage and spike the ball. You see the time left.
Paul, that play cost him 21 seconds. 21 seconds on that play.
And now Kavanaugh and Wisconsin, 16 seconds away from perhaps the biggest upset they have ever suffered. And Cincinnati's players imploring this crowd, which is about half the size of a crowd that would gather in Camp Randall, but is making nearly as much noise, hoping the Bearcats can hold on.
Hey, Paul, it's 4th down. This is the play for Wisconsin. Do or die right now.
Whistles prior to the play. And our referee and Dan Blum. And it is Cincinnati that is forced to call timeout and help Wisconsin. On 4th down, Cincinnati had called timeout. There would have been no way after the completion that Wisconsin could have run, you wouldn't believe, another play.
Yeah, but I think they got what they wanted. They called the timeout before the play was run. And so we saw what happened. It was a completion, and it was a first down to Merritt. But they got the whistle blown just before the snap, so it's still 4th down. Wisconsin still has to get at least 6 for the first down, but even so, only 16 seconds to go.
And of course, was in the Liberty Bowl.
You know what, those Southern Miss almost pulled off an upset in Nebraska today.
And here it comes down to Trevor with 16 seconds to go. One final play. You'll be able to follow each and every member school of Conference USA on the World Wide Web. Log on to Conference USA at c-usa.org.
All right, Paul. I can't begin to describe the feeling of those players down there right now. This is a huge game for both teams for exactly opposite reasons. One on the way up, one that could have their ascent completely squashed. And this play may be the last play of the game.
Ahmad Merritt to the far side. Davis and Evans this way, and of course 33 in the backfield. Kavanaugh throws, and it is caught for a touchdown by Wisconsin, but there is a penalty marker down. So wait, Lee Evans made the catch. What is the flag? It's against the Badgers. Illegal motion on Wisconsin with 11 seconds to go.
Well, Jimbo Fisher was praying in the booth. Let's take a look at what we've got here. It seemed like it was an illegal procedure, like an illegal shift. We didn't get to see it there. Let's see if we can see it.
There it was,
right there,
85 John Sigmund.
And that was a good call, and Wisconsin is going to go all the way back to Madison if they lose this game, saying that the refs, got him on that play, but it was a good call by the ref. It was a clear jump by Sigmund.
The second touchdown taken off the board by a penalty flag today.
And Paul, this relatively little crowd, compared to what Wisconsin usually plays before, messed them up big time and cost them a touchdown.
This is it with 11 seconds remaining. Time for only one more play. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Kavanaugh throws into the end zone. Incomplete.
There's the prayer, Corey.
enter his biggest win, the greatest in the history of Cincinnati Bearcat football. And perhaps the most embarrassing loss Wisconsin has ever suffered.
The Bearcats 17, Wisconsin 12.
What a finish.
Don't forget the Bearcats next home.
Absolutely electrifying this finish. We had everything. We had mistakes on one side being capitalized on the other. We had the emotion. We had a completely overmatched Bearcat defense with injuries coming into the game that was able to shut down the Wisconsin offense to only 12 points. And we had a stand at the end of the game by that defense to win.
We are witnessing perhaps the resurrection of a once proud football program in one of the oldest stadiums in the history of college football, Nippert Stadium today, framing Cincinnati over top 10 member and Big Ten member Wisconsin on the day Ron Dayne becomes the Big Ten's all-time leading rusher. Stay tuned. Coming up next on Fox Sports Net, Washington takes on Air Force. College Football Saturday has been a presentation of Fox Sports Net. For Louis Johnson, cover manage, I'm Paul Kennedy.
How about those cats? You see, baby. You see.
Well, we haven't seen anything close to that.
Yes. I'm in the middle of this pack. Hold on, I'm going to get him and bring him out. Okay, I got to talk to you, Coach. You got a camera on me? Can I start, Tom? Can't hear anything. Tom, can you hear me? Where's your camera?
Just look straight ahead, Louis.
I can't hear you, Ned. Okay, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of. Okay, all right. I just can't hear anything, man. I'm sorry. He's gonna give a speech now. We're trying to get a camera in there. No, that's not him. Here he comes. He's coming in. Hey, let this guy in. He's coming. Hey, watch out. Please take it. You got 2 minutes. You didn't have a chance against Wisconsin. How did you pull this off?
Well, first of all, you don't play the game on paper. You play it right here in the heart. And these hearts of these cats were stronger than the hearts of the Badgers today.
Your defense gave up 231 yards to Ron Dayne, but you were able to get key turnovers. Talk about your defensive play.
Well, our plan coming in was we weren't going to stop Ron altogether. And we wish him well the rest of the way. Hope he wins a Heisman, because he didn't win a ball game on our turf today. But our kids did exactly what we thought. We had to hit a couple of big plays on offense. Our defense was the heart of a lion today. They got a couple of key stops, and that's what enabled us to win a low-scoring game.
You were 2-9 last year. What does a win like this do for the program?
Well, you're listening to it right now. It'll certainly make our night tonight go better. But we'll celebrate it just like last week, the loss. We'll celebrate the victory for 24 hours. Be a great win for our school. Hope our alums around the country today are sticking their chest out and are being quite proud.
Now, tell me about the confidence you must have now. You'll have to face Ohio State next weekend.
Well, we're not necessarily ready to join the Big Ten as a member, but bring the Buckeyes on.
All right, congratulations, Rick Mitter.
All right, thank you very much.
Never expect this.
I know that.
Hey. I just took a beating there, boys. That was a good old-fashioned whooping there. Thank you. I'm going to go back over to the camera. I'm going to take it just in case.
Gotta go the same way, John.
Say again?
Hey, we got a little one.
Everything worked out good?
I think we should. I was going to say something about snow. I'm not sure it wasn't me.
Hey, you got one girl and there was 5 of them.
Didn't do anything for you?
It scared the
Hey, you want to interview me?
Lewis takes off and he said, stay with me. And I did, and it's with all the football players.
They need you on radio. You guys got a game more sound, right?
That was awesome. It was scary. Running out on the field with Lewis. I never doing that again.
Again, both